We'll chat to you soon.
For extreme entertainment, stream comedy whenever you like on ABC iView.
That's so cool.
Extreme feel-goods with Ghosts, Ronnie Cheng International Student and Summer Love.
Never hold back, kids.
Extreme funnies from the Melbourne International Comedy Festival.
That means a lot.
And extreme good times with Starstruck, Peep Show and Fisk.
Why would you say that?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's Extreme Comedy Gold.
So cool.
And you can stream it all for free on ABC iView.
ABC Sport.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2023 AFL Premiership season.
Pass out to the right, steps on goal, superb finish.
Turns, whacks it straight through the middle. Pulls the trigger on goal and goes bang! 'Cause here it comes, here it comes.
On ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app. Look for the AFL button.
Something big is coming, I know. A soggy Saturday greets Carlton in Western Sydney as the Blues travel to take on the Giants in round 3 of the 2023 campaign. Carlton started with a win and a draw against Geelong last week, the victory after drawing with the Tigers to kick off their season, while the Giants are 1-1, a win against Adelaide here in the opening round before going down to West Coast in Perth last Sunday. It's not a happy hunting ground here for the Blues. They're 1-5 since the Giants came into the competition. However, they swept the matchups home and away between these two sides in season 2023. Joel Peterson with you on Grandstand AFL. Terrific to have your company wherever you're listening right around the network today. A big day of sport, a big weekend of sport in Australia. Plenty going on. We'll keep you across it all as we go throughout the day. If you're into the F1 and you're waiting on qualifying, maybe just turn your radio down now, because Oscar Piastri has just been knocked out of Q1 at the Australian Grand Prix. We'll keep an eye on that over the next half an hour or so as we build up to this clash and a big night of footy with St Kilda and Essendon to come later tonight. And, of course, the showdown as well in Adelaide. Jess Webster is alongside me to call it. Jess, you told me earlier you've got a good feeling about the Giants this afternoon.
I do. I'm looking forward to a good contest. I think it's a big challenge for them. I think we'll maybe answer some few questions about the Giants today against what is one of the most informed teams in the competition that are playing with a lot of confidence. And I have to say, the Giants this morning, I fell for their April Fool's joke. They announced the retirement of Callan Ward. I almost text you to say, I can't believe we're going to have to say farewell today. But luckily, he will be out there. And but it's good to see they're having a bit of fun today. Former
co-captain of the Giants, of course, Cal Ward, who will be out there this afternoon. We've got a captain of their women's team with us in the Grandstand AFL box, Alicia Eva. Alicia, great to see you.
Good afternoon all, and great to see everyone here in the commentary box. Looking forward to this one. I think it's going to be a tighter contest than what people are perhaps expecting, so ready to go.
And Joel Patfull, former Giant and Lion, is with us as well. Joel, do the conditions maybe bring the Giants back into play here?
Yeah, hey guys, thanks for having me. I think they do a little bit. It's dry at the moment, but it has been quite wet around Sydney today. So the wetter the better, I think, for the Giants today. But we're looking forward to for a good contest.
When you put these two sides up against each other on paper, where do you see maybe an edge, a match-defining edge for either team?
Well, I think the thing for Carlton is the big key forwards. I think it's how they play today and how many goals they can kick between the two of them. It'd be a really good contest. I think young Sam Taylor's doing really well down there, so I'm looking forward to seeing those two battle it out. And that's where, I mean, the conditions could help the Giants. So if it's wetter, those key forwards won't be as dangerous up forward. So if they can keep them quiet, I think they're a chance.
It's a bit of a different look, Alicia, in the sense that there was no Jack Buckley last year for the Giants. Last time they played, there was no Harry Mackay for Carlton. So the matchups, we haven't necessarily seen the Twin Towers of Carlton go against this particular Giants defence.
No, we haven't, and no doubt the Giants defence have done a lot of homework throughout the week and look really closely at those two Twin Towers down there. But as you mentioned, Sam Taylor, that matchup is going to be critical on either Kerno or Mackay, and Connor Iden as well. He's another defender that's really come into his own in the last few years. He can play on talls and smalls. So look, I can't wait for this contest, and we haven't even spoken about a midfield battle yet. So looking forward to it.
Anytime. Patrick Cripps and Kelly and Whitfield and some of these guys. Steve Cornelio's been in great form for the Giants in recent weeks. There is plenty to like. The subs, if you're just catching up, Lockie O'Brien, who missed the bus to the game from the team hotel. He got here eventually, and he's the sub for Carlton. And for the Giants, it's Connor Stone, who was the sub last week. How do we see it playing out? A tip, Alicia?
Oh, I'd have to go Giants.
Joel?
I want to say Giants, but I'm going to say Carlton by 4 goals.
So the Blues here in Western Sydney taking on the Giants. To get you started on Grandstand AFL, here's Jess Webster.
Flynn taking on De Koning in the opening ruck battle. De Koning wins the tap straight down to Kelly of the Giants, gives it to Cornelio, snaps around the corner to half forward, intercepted by Doherty of the Blues, shares it with De Koning, and now Ed Curnow bangs it towards half forward to a contest. Off hands, out the back, Taylor laying an important tackle against Owies, who gets the hand pass out to Cripps. Now back to Ed Curnow from centre half forward, chips it to full forward. It's a 2-on-2 contest right in the goal square, picked up by Motlop, can't get a clean kick away, and eventually goes through for a rush behind. The opening score here at Giants Stadium, it is the Blues leading by a point over the Giants, yet to score.
Whitfield to bring it back into the play for the Giants. Blues kicking to the Olympic Stadium end in this opening term. Whitfield back into the team this week, drives a long right-footed kick out to the outer side. Doherty was up in the pack, couldn't bring it down. Cripps fires in after the football, flicks it in the direction of Chera. Off a step, Hollands, inside forward 50 for the Blues. In front of the pack, going back with the flight was Buckley, couldn't cling on. Silvani rolls a kick goalward. That one's across the face and it trickles hard right at the last moment. And out for a throw in right forward pocket, Blues deep into attack.
2 begins for the Giants today, Kelly and Whitfield. And for the Blues, Hewitt comes back in from a hand injury. Ball back into play, deep inside the Blues attack. De Koning just takes it out of the ruck. Hand passes to Motlop, tied up against the boundary. And it's touched on its way through for a minor score. The Blues doing all the scoring at the moment. 2 behinds, the Giants yet to score. And we played a minute and a half in the opening term on Grandstand AFL.
Yeah, we've spoken a lot about the matchups of the talls, but I think what the Giants need to be careful of at ground level with the likes of Lockie Ash and Whitfield, who like to get really aggressive and attacking across half-back, they need to be mindful of their direct opponents at ground level when the ball is leaving stoppage or at dropping the ball from long and direct kicks.
Looks at Alicia Eva on Grandstand AFL. Giants work it to the outer side. Cornelio carves a path through the traffic, kicks to half forward. And now a long ball to full forward, finds Hogan. Lovely kick from Himmelberg. Delivery was beautiful. And Hogan marks left forward pocket, wheels around, wastes no time, makes no mistake. Opening goal of the game goes to the Giants, who go coast to coast to stick one through. 2.5 played opening term. The Giants 1 straight, lead the Blues 2 behinds.
It's funny how often you see that Carlton were doing all the attacking there and look really proactive up forward, but the Giants were able to get a quick kick out and a few gaps started to appear in that Carlton defence. They hadn't quite set up their zone, and once that first mark was taken, it was away to the races. So well done by the Giants there to find that space and then get in over the back as well.
Yeah, just a lot of electricity in their forward half, Carlton, and they're buzzing around but not necessarily organised in that first layer of that zone. So the Giants were just too easily able to pick through. And Jesse Hogan, he was quiet early against Adelaide and got going after half-time, so he'll be pretty pleased that he's hit the scoreboard early.
6 goals in the first 2 rounds for Jesse Hogan, so marks number 7 so far. So the Giants take an early lead. Back in the middle. De Koning palms it down. Chera tracks it, just tries to paddle it to advantage. Now Kelly and Ed Curnow tangle on the broadcast wing. Curnow wins that battle, and now Cripps. Hand passes to Doherty, kick smothered. Trickles along the wing. Green can't take it cleanly. Picked up by Motlop of the Blues, but he's turned it over. Green jams it on the boot towards half forward to a pack. Wiedering with the spoil, but it spills to Ward, who gets boot to ball. Is a rush kick as he's pushed out of bounds, and his kick went out of bounds on the full. Free kick to the Blues in the right back pocket.
Gives us a good chance to check in downstairs and welcome the final member of our broadcast team, Declan Byrne. Declan, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. It was a rainy morning in Sydney, but it's actually beautiful. It's blue sky at the moment. The crowd's filtering in, and there's actually a lot of navy blue. So a bit of a heavy track. We'll see how it plays out, but pretty clean footy so far to start.
You were strident in saying it wouldn't rain from now on about 15 minutes ago, Declan. You've been proven right so far. We'd like to see it stay that way. Carlton control the ball down the broadcast side. Blake Acres, former Saint and Docker, playing his third game in navy blues, got it just behind halfway. Nurses a high kick up the wing. DeConing the target in the pack, 2 hands to it, can't mark. Taylor and Cripps wrestle forward at ground level. The Carlton skipper's pinned on top of the footy. Umpire lets it roll. Tom Green rips it out of there for the Giants, only as far as Acres. Handball to Sard, whips a left foot kick into full forward. Curnow in the pack. Charlie got out the back. Silvani was first there, and buzzing it at their feet was Durden. He cleaned it up, and Corey Durden gets the Blues first to hand them back the lead. 1-2 Carlton. The Giants won straight. We played 5 in the opening term on Grandstand AFL.
Just brilliant small forward craft there. Durden just getting to the front of the pack. The ball gets over the back, and because he's hitting it with speed, he gets first access to the footy there, and very pleased to hit the scoreboard on that replay.
Yeah, and you mentioned that earlier, how dangerous those Carlton forwards could be. You see Lockie Whitfield there getting caught in the traffic. Durden keeps going through and gets it at ground level. It's one thing, if you're going to be an attacking half-back, you still got to lock on your player when the time comes.
Good vibes around Sydney Showgrounds today. We've got the Easter Show building at the moment. $2 hot chips we heard earlier. So
if that's not going to get you to the footy, Jess, I don't know what will.
solid crowd here already, so hopefully it builds throughout the afternoon from the middle.
I would have driven from Melbourne for that.
Carlton win the clearance, kick up towards half forward. It's knocked away from Owies, picked up by Cumming of the Giants. As a whistle on play, is the advantage going to be paid? I think it is. So it's marked by Lloyd on the outer wing. He chips short to Tom Green. He gives it to Kelly. He chips it short to Haynes, still inside the centre square. He chips it forward to Green, who's marked at centre half forward. Called to play on, so he just has to load up and send it high to full forward. A couple of Giants went to ground. It spills to DeConing. Plenty of numbers around the contest. Picked up by Flynn. He's driven into the ground, and we've got a ball up 25 out from the Giants' goal.
And the Giants were very deliberate in their ball movement there, chipping the ball around at the top of the arc. And if I could give a picture to everyone listening at home, Carlton have flooded a lot of numbers back, hence why the Giants have to use the ball around the arc.
DeConing in ruck, quick kick out of the contest, falls the way of Sard, who keeps it in along the boundary line, flicks the handball on to Hollands, got the kick away under pressure up the southeastern wing. Fighting for the football was Charlie Curnow, knocked out of his hands. Owies is buzzing around, ridden into the turf on the logo outer side. Coming with a blind turn, jams it inside the forward 50. And Tom DeConing, who's made a bright start to a contract year, takes the intercept mark, comes across the defensive 50 to Lewis Young. He thought about going short to Acres, then got caught in two minds trying to play on around Peatling. Got it to Newman, left foot kick down the line's a poor one. Haynes will chop it off, not paid the mark, flick the handball up to Tom Green, who cuts a sways, run down by Mackay, caught holding the ball. Free kick to the Carlton big man defensive side of centre on the broadcast side.
Blues by 2 points. 8 minutes played in this first term as Mackay sends it wide to Doherty, chips short to Fisher, gives it back to Mackay, sends the Blues inside 50, knocked away from Motlop, kicked out of the air by Ed Curnow towards full forward, but it's offline and through for a minor score. The Blues move to 1-3-9. They lead the Giants one straight 6. 8 minutes played first term on Grandstand AFL.
Yeah, good starting from both teams. Plenty of energy around the ball, and it's a lot of intensity around that contest. So they're both looking to move the ball quite quickly as well moving forward. So hopefully there'll be a lot of scoring opportunities. Carlton being a little bit wayward from the start.
Matt Owies coming off with the blood rule here for the Blues. Corey Durden trots on to replace him.
How about Big Mackay chase down tackle on Tom Green? You reckon he would have been pretty pleased with that one?
I think the Carlton fans would have been pleased with that from Big Harry. He's drawn criticism for his effort over, certainly in the early part of his career. He's really been such a part of their resurgence in recent seasons. So Blues by 3 points, 8.5 played opening term here at Giants Stadium on Grandstand AFL. Long kick to the outer side taken by Callaghan of the Giants, who now links up through hands with Rouston. Finn Callaghan bursting through the centre to Daniels on the run, and Brent Daniels sticks it through from 40. And that's the orange tsunami at its finest, in a wave from end to end. And the Giants take back the lead. Goal for goal in the early stages here in Western Sydney. 2 straight 12 GWS. The Blues 1-3-9. 9.5 gone first term.
Yeah, great bit of play by the Giants. It's the second time they've been able to break that zone from a stoppage situation. So there's a few gaps in that Carlton defence when they're zoning up. But like you said, that's the play that the Giants are looking for these days. They want to go quick. They want to go fast. They got it through the middle and got them out the back once again.
Finn Callahan is such a smooth mover. He can run all day, distributes the ball really, really well, but brought Brent Daniels into the game nicely then.
It's so important to this Giants side, losing a couple of players in the off-season. It really is a star of the future, Finn Callahan. So we're back in the middle. Good contest early. The Giants win it out through Canelio. Now to Rouston, who loops the hand pass over the top, looking for Canelio. But it was intercepted by Chera, who was then driven into the ground and got the free kick. He hand passes to Hollins. Sends a long ball inside the arc, looking for Curnow, knocked away from him. Iden for the Giants. His hand pass a little ill-directed. Charlie Curnow chases after it, picks it up, gives it to Motlop. Now back to Curnow from left half forward. Wheels around and bombs it to Savani in the pocket. Takes the grab. 15 metres out from goal. Tight angle to the left. Quick to play on. Right foot snap towards goal. And he sends it through. The Giants regain the lead, 2-3-15, or the Blues rather regain the lead, 2-3-15 to the Giants, 2 straight 12. 11 played, first term on Grandstand AFL. Your experts are Alicia Eva and Joel Patfull.
Just watching Motlop come off the ground, he's touched it a few times, but he's touched it to great effect. He's set up a couple of score involvements there, and just nice, clean, one-touch player. You shouldn't underestimate him.
Type of player you love in these conditions.
Absolutely. And I was out on the ground earlier with the VFL, and it is quite greasy underfoot and quite slippery out there. So I don't think there's much rain coming, but I could be wrong. Declan might tell me otherwise. But it is pretty wet and slippery out there.
Declan's our weatherman this afternoon. He assured me there's none.
Anything can happen in Sydney, can't it?
The Bureau of Burns forecast was that there was no more rain to come this afternoon.
Famous last words for a boundary rider.
Absolutely.
I know from experience.
Absolutely. We've all been there. Craig Fleer bounces it down in the centre to get us going again, and Cripps rips it out of the middle, sends a high kick to half forward, knocked away from Silvani for the Blues. Collecting it was Akers, flicked out the handball to Durden, who had options everywhere. Elects to go himself from centre half forward. Charlie Curnow got hands to it, but he had pressure from Buckley, who did enough to worry him out of it and force it through for a rushed behind. 4-point lead to the Blues. 12 gone, opening term, Grandstand AFL. Earlier today, Hawthorn 19-point winners over North Melbourne down at Launceston to get their first victory of the season.
Coming restarts play for the Giants. Will kick it long to the outer side, and taking the uncontested mark is Callahan. From right half back, he runs inboard in 2 minds, loops the hand pass over the top to Kelly with some room to move on the outer wing. Will send a long ball looking for Toby Green, has a couple to beat. It's brought to ground, picked up by Hogan, who jams it on the boot, and it's marked by Flynn. 45 out from goal directly in front. A bit of luck paid off there.
There's a bit of luck. There's a bit of space inside that Carlton defence, inside 50 there, even if it hadn't fallen in Flynn's lap there. There's a couple of Giants that have broken free forward, so there's a few holes in that defence. They're going to have to crack down a little bit here, I think.
They've gone goal for goal in this opening term. Flynn to continue the trend. It doesn't have the carry in the end, and it's sent through for a rush behind. Carlton 2-4-16, leading the Giants 2-1-13 through 13 and a half minutes in the first term.
It's a pretty evenly matched game at the moment, isn't it? End to end.
Teams feeling each other out early. Alicia Eva and Joel Patfull, your experts on Grandstand AFL. Jess Webster and Joel Peterson calling it for you. DeConing floated in from the side from a long kick in and gave away a free kick in the process. In fact, it might have been Mackay on Taylor who was the infringing party. And Himmelberg's in off the bench and kicks it almost straight to the face of Adam Chera. Cumming was there to collect the spoils. He stepped through the traffic, got it off to Tom Green. Kicks inside the 50 for the Giants. To full forward, Riccardi stretched. Did he have the arm held? One of their 2 key targets did, and it'll be a free kick to Hogan.
Don't know if Michael Voss was overly happy with that free kick. But, I mean, I think the Giants forwards, just looking at the numbers that Carlton are flooding back inside D50, the Giants forwards are going to have to be up for the fight today, fighting 2v1 in the air. Jesse Hogan wins a free kick on this occasion.
3 goals in each of his first 2 games of the season, Jesse Hogan. He's got 2 here in the opening term. And the Giants are the first team to get back-to-back goals in this ball game. 3-1-19 as the late changes hands again. Carlton 2-4-16. In fact, we're still going goal for goal. 15 minutes through the opening term. Let's go downstairs. Declan Byrne.
Yeah, Matt Owies, who came off with the blood rule, had that cut below the right eye. Took a minute to stop the bleeding, but he's patched up and he's back out there good to go. And yeah, no rain still. Positive thinking, guys. No rain, no rain.
There's a bit of sunlight, I think, peeking through at the moment, Declan. It's shaping up to be a lovely afternoon. So still a little bit wet underfoot. Ground looks a bit choppy as well. Had obviously the VFL before this match. Good win to the Giants in the VFL over the Blues.
Yes, it was. It was a good win. A couple of young forwards putting their hands up for selection as well, so we'll see what happens.
Number 1 draft pick Aaron Cadman kicking 3.
He did, and it's not just his aerial work. He's working really hard with the ground balls and pressure inside 50, so good signs.
So back in the middle, bounce was errant, so we'll do it all again. The Waffle during the week has banned the bounce in that competition, so a little bit of discussion on what's going to happen in the future. Meanwhile, from the restart, Cripps gives it to Ed Curnow. Ships it into the path of Motlop. It takes a strong grab in front of Haynes at left half forward. 2 kicks from goal. Giants up by 3. Motlop will just bomb it long. De Koning comes charging out. Had to come from behind, and it spills over the line for a boundary throw in 10 metres around from the Blues goal. They trail by 3 points. 16 played opening term.
So another blood rule here. This is going to be Mackay, who's taken a knock in the contest inside forward 50. So from the same position on the ground that Owies came from earlier, Harry Mackay's going to trot off and Jack Silvani will come on.
Working overtime down there, Carlton bench.
Paying their pennies, the medical staff for the Blues. Great to have you with us on Grandstand AFL. ABC Radio, Sport Digital News Radio, and of course in 2023 via the ABC Listen app. The AFL or the AFL Extra button to hear every game across the course of the season, no matter where you are. Pitternet out of the ruck, couldn't take it with him. Eyed an inside defensive 50 for the Giants. Sharp hands to Ash, and now to Whitfield. Loops the kick over the top to Cooper Hamilton. Just inside the defensive 50, broadcast side for GWS. Shoots it short to Taylor and then creates some run. Tried to carve his kick up the boundary line. Hit the instep of his boot and floated out of bounds on the full right in front of the interchange gates.
Fisher to take the free kick for the Blues. Called to play on. Peatling applies the pressure. Fisher just have to send it long down the line. Curnow got hands to it. Out the back is Buckley to Green and now to Ash for the Giants. Has a bounce inside defensive 50. Kicks across the face of goal. It's over the head of Himmelberg. It's picked off by Jesse Motlop, who snaps towards goal, and it's marked on the goal line from Owies. A skill error in their defensive 50 from the Giants. And now will cause almost, well, you would have to say a certain goal from the goal square. That's a coach killer, that one.
Oh, I was going to say, I wonder what Adam Kingsley was saying in the coach's box just then.
Owies kicks the goal and the Blues get their third. 3-4-22. They lead the Giants 3-1-19. 18 played first term on Grandstand AFL.
Yeah, it was an errant kick there, but what you don't see is the pressure that Carlton were actually putting on the kicker. He didn't really have an option. He couldn't turn back to kick it long down the line, and they were closing off those options for the switch. So it forced, who was it that kicked that one, sorry?
Ash.
It forced Ash to go for a kick that he wasn't comfortable with, and you could see that he was getting nervous with the more time that he had the ball in his hand. So unfortunate, but great pressure from Carlton to force that kick.
And another score involvement for Motlop.
He's been dangerous, hasn't he?
He has. Looked really lively down there. Hasn't hit the scoreboard yet, but he's setting up a few goals. So Nick Haynes has got that match up at the moment. Again, another one of those Giants defenders who can play on tools and smalls.
Right from the opening, foray inside 50. He's looked very dangerous up there, has Jesse Motlop. All up in the middle, only just stayed inside the circle, so the Giants will get the clearance. High kick inside the forward 50. Unable to take it as he was going to ground was McGovern. Cornelio, handball through the traffic was clever. Onto Daniels, onto Riccardi from the pocket. Well, he chipped it about 7 metres in the end, and then a big collision. Going back with the flight with courage was Akers. Venturing into the unknown and straight into Peatling.
Too selfless.
Collected the shoulder. Yeah, Riccardi was an odd decision in the end. It was thumped through for a minor score. Carlton by 3 points, and a collision right on the behind line, but Akers is up and okay as Saad brings it back in.
Well, that's a pinpoint kick. And finds Newman out there at left half back, who chips it short to Savani, defensive side of the wing. He chips it short to Hollins.
Been an impressive young player, first 3 games.
Hollins bangs it towards half forward. Oh, that is an excellent contested grab from Taylor against Koning. What a fine young player he is. And elects to chip backwards to Ash.
Hopefully a little more steady in with ball in hand this time. He's the kid from Katandra in the Goulburn Valley, Lockie Ash. Just lopes away inside the defensive 50. Low kick up the wings. Better directed this time. Finds big Matty Flynn. In front of the Martin and Angus stand on the outer side. The blue sky starting to poke through. As Flynn leans on his kick down the boundary line. McGovern's across to thump it away from Riccardi, out of play. It'll be tossed back in. Out of sight. 21 minutes gone opening term. Carlton 3-4 lead the Giants 3-2. Joel Peterson, Jess Webster calling it for you on Grandstand AFL. Alicia Eva, Joel Patfull, your experts. Declan Byrne on the boundary.
And Toby Green yet to touch the ball so far this game.
Ball back into play. Flynn taps it down to Ward, who's tackled immediately by Cripps, and we'll have a ball up at right half forward for the Giants. Ruck's tangle. Picked up by Hamilton. His hand pass didn't find Whitfield, who now has to contest with it against Chera. Wins the football. Tackled by Hewitt. Dispossessed. Picked up by Hollins of the Blues. His hand pass is deflected by Flynn. It's picked up by Cripps. He loops the hand pass over the top to Hewitt. Receives it back to Cripps. Then hand passes into the path of Hollins. Didn't get a kind bounce. Iden comes the other way. Taps it to Ward. Gives it to Hamilton. And now to Kelly from the outer wing. Dribbles it along the ground. And it's out of play. And we will have a throw in at right half forward for the Giants. They trail by 2 points. 22 played opening term.
Newman with the matchup on Green early, Leach. They would have seen plenty of each other. The former Swan and the Giants captain.
Yes, fair few fiery games, I reckon.
And all between the two of them will be interesting this afternoon. Hewitt, another former Swan at the stoppage. Again to Hollins, who's been impressive. Kicks down the line. Buckley's done a good job on Curnow so far. Outpointed him in the air there. Handball from Haynes to Whitfield. Links up by hand with Green, who's got all the time in the world on that outer side. Scythes his way through the traffic. Little drop step was neat, and then darted his pass to Hamilton on centre wing. He handballs it over the top to Cornelio, who's hemmed in, so has to hook a kick around the body inside the forward 50. De Koning knocks it away from Flynn. On the ground at half forward for the Giants. Haynes with a run at it. Tom Green, handball straight up in the air. Giants with numbers around the footy. Flynn trying to hack a kick out. Taken by Saad. Handball to Hollins. Pushed off it. Picked up by Daniels. Centering ball. Oh, Toby couldn't mark. He runs onto it. He got his kick away. Only 3 metres. Kelly shrugs a tackle. Snaps it around. Brilliant goal.
Wow, what a kick, Josh Kelly. Just curled that nicely on his left foot.
He is a smooth mover, and he shows all his skills there. Such a valuable inclusion back into this Giants team. And again, we've gone goal for goal through the first 7 of the match. The Giants 4-2, the Blues 3-4. 4-point lead to the hosts through 23 minutes on Grandstand AFL.
Yeah, just a bit of good old-fashioned hard work there. The Giants just kept the ball moving forward, nearly landed in Toby's hands, but then able to push it out to Josh Kelly. And what a finish. It's almost, you thought that was going through as soon as he picked it up, really. I don't think he doesn't miss too many of them, but the degree of difficulty for any AFL player on that is extremely high. So he's a great mover, great kick, great finish.
Bit of a Dusty Martin fend-off as well in the middle of that. So all class from Josh Kelly, and got a great contest here at Giant Stadium. Back in the middle. Ball milling around inside the centre circles. Kelly decides to just soccer it off the deck. It bounces inside forward 50 for the Giants. Wiedering is there for the Blues. Just hacks a kick out of the danger zone. It trickles towards the outer side boundary, but Tom Green will pick it up for the Giants. Has some time to wheel around and measure a kick to half forward. McGovern in front position is brought to ground. Now Chera to Wiedering to Hollins to Newman, all by hand. In the left back pocket, he just has to jam it down the line to a contest. Umpire's blown his whistle. It's a free kick for a hold going Cripps' way.
Has to go and fetch his own footy. Patrick Cripps, even the Brownlow medalist, has to jump the fence occasionally and do a few hard yards. Trots back into the field of play at half-back on the outer side. 25 minutes played opening term. Giants with the first, and they've traded goals since. It's GWS by 4 points. Great take, Silvani. Plucked it out of the air at half-forward. Sends it inside 50 over the head of Mackay. Races on back to the behind line, and Ash is keen to rush it through with Owies bearing down. Margin back to 3 now. 4-2 plays 3-5. 26 played opening term.
Lockie Ash to bring the ball back in for the home side. Advances 10 metres and then bombs it long to the outer side wing. Flynn's in the contest against De Koning. It's brought to ground, picked up by Lloyd of the Giants. Sweeping hand pass to Daniels, who tried to paddle it onwards, but it's picked up by Wiedering of the Blues. As the Blues send it into the middle, Silvani from the centre circles. Lovely kick towards Akers, is in a mountain of space. At right half forward, will send it long to the goal square. The Blues have free players and always takes the mark in the goal square. Adam Kingsley on the big screen, not happy with that. And another easy goal coming up for the Blues.
We certainly won't be happy with that from a kick out. I'll let you call this. I'll let you call the goal, or I'm going to assume it'll go through for a goal.
It's marked on the point of the goal square. Easy goal for Owies. He's got 2. And the Blues get their 4th. 4-5-29 plays the Giants. 4-2-26. 26 played opening term on Grandson AFL. Your experts are Alicia Eva and Joel Patfull.
Well, Kingsley won't be happy with that. So it started from a kick in. The ball was turned over across half back, and the Blues just changed angles or changed lanes on the ground far too easily. And then what happened down the ground, back in the Blues forward half, is that the forwards were able to work back into space out the back, and all of the Giants defenders were caught in front, and it resulted in an easy mark in the goal square for Owies.
It's usually a bit of a concentration thing when that happens. It's a breakdown when the ball's cleared and your defenders don't switch on quick enough to close that gap between the forward and the defender, and even to have someone free inside the goal square. So obviously someone's missed him on the way back through.
So 8 lead changes in the opening term as we've gone goal for goal. A couple of blood rules, and there's still almost 5 minutes of playing time. We've gone 27 through the quarter. Play on advantage out of the middle here. Kelly to Ward from 52 metres out. Callan Ward! He bombs it from downtown. The club had him retiring earlier today. Some April Fool's joke. He comes back with a vengeance. He's like Lazarus. 3-point lead to the Giants. 28 played opening term. That's not a bad strike from a bloke the club was trying to finish up.
It would have been a nice way to go out if it was in fact his last game, but no, hopefully he plays for a little bit longer. Joel, you would have played a bit of footy with Cal.
I did, and I saw the Instagram this morning. It actually got me for a little bit as well. I thought it was a bit of a strange way to go out if that's how he was going to do it, but glad he's kicking on. Played a few games with Cal. Great to see him go, man. What a goal. He broke the centre square, would have been 55 and cleared it easy. There's still a bit of life in those old legs.
I was hoping you made a joke about that, Joel, when you kicked that goal. That was great.
This quarter could go for 35 minutes here, the way we're going.
It's been good footy. Back in the middle. Chera gives it to Hewitt, hooks it around the corner towards half forward for the Blues. Akers tries to fend off Ash, gets the hand pass out to Chera. He's immediately set upon by Whitfield, but he caught him high. So a free kick to Adam Chera, just forward of the wing on this broadcast side. The run-in board and then send it inside a crowded forward 50. Flynn in front position, could have hold on to the mark. It spills to Hewitt of the Blues. Sweeping hand pass to Akers in the pocket. And he's missed to the right. The Blues, 4-6-30, leading the Giants, 5-2-32. 30 minutes played now in the opening term on Grandstand AFL. Let's get down to Declan on the boundary.
Yeah, Blake Akers, who just kicked that behind, came off 5 minutes ago complaining of his right shoulder, and he was slammed into the ground there and grabbed it again. So definitely not 100%, hoping those painkillers kick in.
Thanks, Declan. There's some quick release stuff for Blake Akers. Here's Ward again at half back into the centre of the ground. Pushing up to mark is Toby Green, right on halfway. Sends an absolute moonraker inside the forward 50. Young is there, so too Pitternet. Spikes it out of the danger zone. Kelly was there to pick it up. He tried to ride the bump from Newman, got caught. An advantage to the Blues. Loping off halfback is Akers. Gets onto his right peg. Sends it up the line. Scrimmage on behind play. Whitfield neatly controlled it over his head, then slipped over on the sodden turf. Got caught by dirt and got pinged. Gee, he was a little bit stiff there, Lockie Whitfield, and he gives it up at right half forward.
Newman involved in that scuffle behind play. Of course, returning to New South Wales, the former Swan. Down Durden. Kick short to Hewitt. He sends it into the pocket. It's off hands, close to the boundary line, and now out of play. 30 metres around from the Blues goal. Trail by 2 points. 31 minutes played in its opening term on Grandstand AFL.
And Newman and Kelly just going at it behind play a little bit earlier. Sure they shared a few niceties.
Ball spins back in. Hit a net. Front spot. Wins it down. Cripps to Akers. Almost the same spot he had a shot from a moment ago. This one was under a little bit more duress. Out of bounds on the full. Haynes to take it off the last line for the Giants. Earlier today, Hawthorn getting the job done over North Melbourne by 19 points. First win of the season for the Hawks, and handing Alistair Clarkson his first loss as coach of the Kangaroos. Cripps marks the kick in from Haynes, goes back towards Silvani. He had Haynes for company in the pocket. Ground level footy taken by Cowan. He got tackled by Haynes. And the Giants' former best and fairest winner and All-Australian will take a free from inside the defensive 50. It's getting a little bit chippy out there at the moment with a bit of push and shove between these two sides. Maybe frustrated at how long this first quarter's going, Jess.
32 minutes now we've played as Haynes bombs it long to the broadcast wing off hands. The Giants share it around. Callahan to Kelly, sweeping hand pass looking for Daniels, but Wiedering was there for the Blues, immediately brought to ground. Ball still alive. Daniels picks it up. Hand passes into space. Cripps picks it up for the Blues. The players dive on top, and we have a ball up between wing and half forward, and the Giants attacking half of the ground. They lead by 2 points. 32.5 minutes played in what's been a very high-scoring opening term.
Imagine neither coach should be overly pleased with the way that it's been played so far. It's been good to watch as spectators, but as a coach it might be a bit frustrating, this end-to-end football. Cumming marks a long kick down the line from the Blues and cuts the kick laterally infield to Ash, who loops it over the top to the run of Lloyd, who gets to the AFL logo and then lasers it inside the 50, a 45-metre bullet to Callan Ward, who marks 45 out directly in front.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I think both coaches would be a little bit frustrated. There's even that kick there, like a 45-metre bullet for over 45 metres to hit someone uncontested inside 50 is very hard to do in a game of AFL footy unless there's a bit of extra space inside the forward 50. Very good kick, but there's still a few holes in that Blues defence, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
So Callan Ward dobbed one from outside the arc. He's a little bit closer to home this time, still directly in front from 47 metres out. Tugs it a little bit left. Minor score makes the margin 3 points the way of the home side, and he clatters his fists together in frustration.
And it seems like a bit of a theme at the moment. Carlton are getting a lot of numbers back inside defensive 50, but very deep in front of the likes of Hogan and the Giants' tools. It's meaning that Callum Ward and some of these higher forwards are finding themselves in pockets of space at the top of the arc.
Newman brings it in for the Blues, but he's kicked it straight to Cumming at left half forward. Marks inside the boundary line and then kicks it back towards full forward. Green has a fly from the side. Couldn't come down with a mark as Ward tracks it to the boundary line. It's over and out. Throw in 10 metres around from the Giants' goal. They lead by 3 points. Ticked over to 34 and a half minutes in this opening quarter. We've gone goal for goal. Ball back into play. It's palmed down by Hogan. Ball spits out the back to Owies. His hand pass is ill-directed, but Cripps has time to pick it up. And gives it to Akers, who bombs it long to the broadcast wing. Mackay comes in from the side and takes the mark.
So right as the siren sounds, Harry Mackay intervenes right on halfway. And it's just said 9 goals in the opening term, and none of them came back-to-back for either side. It was goal-for-goal stuff here at the Showgrounds. An entertaining start sees the Giants leading by 3 at quarter time. 5-3-33 to Carlton 4-6-30. Jesse Hogan has 2 for the Giants. Josh Kelly with a ripper on the run. Brent Daniels with a goal. And Callan Ward with a long-range effort for the Blues. A couple of converted penalties essentially for Matt Owies from the top of the square. Corey Durden with a goal and Jack Silvani with their other. Quarter time at Giants Stadium. It is the home side by 3 points. 5-3 leading Carlton 4-6 on ABC Radio, Sport Digital, News Radio and via the ABC Listen app. This is Grandstand AFL.
ABC Listen. Rampaging Royce Laban and HG Nelson.
I note that some people don't use logbooks anymore.
What?
Yeah.
They don't know cos,
Yeah,
sine, all that.
cosine, cosine, cotan. They're all great.
Bludging on the blind side.
Why don't they do it?
I don't know.
Hey, Royal Commission. What happened to the logbook? I loved it. I used to open the love it. Could we get Volandis to drag the logbook
Kicking and screaming back into our universities.
Podcast available now on the ABC Listen app. Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Handball to Sard, whips a left foot kick into full forward. Curnow in the pack. Charlie got out the back. Silvani was first there. And buzzing it at their feet was Durden. He cleaned it up. And Corey Durden gets the Blues first to hand them back the lead. Finn Canahan bursting through the centre to Daniels on the run. And Brent Daniels sticks it through from 40.
Motlop now back to Curnow from left half forward. Wheels around and bombs it to Savani in the pocket. 15 metres out from goal. Tight angle to the left. Quick to play on. Right foot snap towards goal. And he sends it through.
3 goals in each of his first 2 games of the season, Jesse Hogan. He's got 2 here in the opening term. Picked up by Daniels. Centering ball. Oh, Toby couldn't mark. He runs onto it. He got his kick away. Only 3 metres. Kelly shrugs a tackle. Snaps it around. Brilliant goal.
Akers is in a mountain of space. Will send it long to the goal square. The Blues have 3 players and always takes the mark in the goal square. He's marked on the point of the goal square. Easy goal for Owies. He's got 2.
Play on advantage out of the middle here. Kelly to Ward from 52 metres out. Callan Ward!
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
There's a fair old punctuation mark from Callan Ward. A long-range effort was the 9th goal of the quarter, and they came at either end of the ground throughout. Goal for goal, these 2 teams. 9 lead changes in that opening term. And it is the Giants by 3 at quarter time. 5-3-33 to Carlton 4-6-30. Great to have your company on Grandstand AFL. Joel Peterson and Jess Webster calling it for you. Alicia Eva, Joel Pat for your experts, and Declan Byrne on the boundary. Earlier today down in Lonnie, it was Hawthorn, too good for North Melbourne. 11-14-80 to the Roos, 9-7-61. Will Day with 29 touches for the Hawks. And Tyler Brockman with 3 goals. Fergus Green and Dylan Moore each adding 2. In the National Rugby League this afternoon, 3 games coming your way in the NRL. Of course, you can get all of that coverage through the ABC Listen app throughout the course of the season. Manly and Newcastle, the early game. Dragons and the Dolphins in the middle game of the day. The Broncos and West Tigers to finish things off. We are deep into extra time between the Sea Eagles and the Knights at 32 apiece. The Dragons and the Dolphins coming up soon. So that one's going to Golden Point, and it is going the distance between Manly and Newcastle. So we'll keep you close to that one in the closing stages. 3-point lead to the Giants here at quarter time. The thoughts of our experts, Alicia and Joel.
Well, it's an interesting game. It's an arm wrestle, and I think if you look at the stats and the fact that there's only 3 points in it, the stats are relatively even across the board in terms of disposals, kicks, handballs, and all that stuff. I guess looking at this all and watching the game unfold, it seems like both teams are playing to their strengths in a sense. So Carlton are by far and away leading the clearance game and the clearance battle, and that's the kind of team they are. The Giants, on the other hand, are leading the stats in running bounces. Now, hear me out. That's the style of game the Giants are playing this year, this run and gun transition game. And right now, the Blues are on top at clearance and stoppage, but the Giants seem to be getting out and getting the ball into space and running the ball and linking up by chain. So at the moment, both teams playing to their strengths, but Joel, you'll probably speak to it defensively, a few holes opening up.
Yeah, I think that's what we'll see as the game goes on. I think that Carlton team defence, they'll try and dial that in a bit. I don't think the coaches would have been too happy with some of those goals that were full transition. It's when they come in from full back and they end up scoring a goal that Carlton haven't really been able to slow that down. That's how the Giants want to play, but they've been able to find those gaps. So I think they'll be looking to close them down. As for the Giants, I think the Giants will just be looking for that consistent effort. They had a quarter last week where they 8 goals to none and it blew the game for them. So even round one, they had the first half, they weren't quite switched on. So the Giants just need to hang in here, bring that effort, get into half time.
So far in second quarters this season, the Giants have been outscored 12 goals to 4. Of course, 8 scored by West Coast last week. So I need to bring a better effort in the second term here as we started off. De Koning controls it down. Hewitt got caught in a really good tackle. Steve Cornelio brought out the vice grip. And George Hewitt is caught in the centre circles here in the sunshine at the showgrounds. Cornelio sends it to full forward. Flying was McGovern. Couldn't bring it down cleanly. Cripps on hands and knees to Kelly. Standing start from 45 metres out. Hooks the kick a little too viciously. It's out of bounds on the fall to the right. It'll be brought in off the last line by Jacob Wiedering for the Blues.
Probably had a little bit more time than he thought then, Josh Kelly, and just hooked the kick.
Wiedering sends it long to the broadcast wing. Charlie Curnow stands tall and takes the mark. He's got it between wing and left half back. He'll wheel up and kick a long ball down the line. Silvani in a one-on-one. Spoil came from Haynes. Straight down to Cumming is tackled by Silvani. It spills loose. Kelly picks it up. Sends it backwards by hand to Whitfield. It kicks down the line. It's not a great kick in the end, and the easy mark is taken by Charlie Curnow in front of the interchange gates.
Curnow infield to Chera. Just adjacent to the logo. He wants to come back into the corridor for Wiedering, who knocks it on short to Doherty. He's got some run from Saad, who absolutely lashes a kick to full forward from 65 out. Cripps got a hand to it. Rouston was there on the behind line to step it across. A minor score narrows the gap to 2 points. 2 minutes played, second term on Grandstand AFL.
And we saw a bit of a slower build-up there from the Carlton defenders, so not going as quick. And one thing that does do is it allows you to set up defensively, try and fill a few of those holes.
Ash from the kick in. Bombs it long. Flynn once, twice, wasn't paid the mark. He hand passes to Lloyd. Defensive side of the wing, kicks to Toby Green in a contest against Wiedering, but he's tackled by, I think that's Young who might have tackled him. In fact, it's McGovern. Forces a ball up at right half forward.
Front spot, Hogan. Jammed it out of the pack there, did Cornelio. He wasn't even remotely facing goal. He's kicked it into the 7th row of the stand. Almost in line with the 50-metre arc. Let's go downstairs to Declan Byrne.
Couple of injury concerns for the Blues. So that right shoulder, Akers went down at quarter time into the rooms, hasn't come back, and Owies is getting his left hamstring worked on, and O'Brien, the sub for Carlton, has just got up to warm up, so keep an eye on that.
Thanks, Declan. Had Owies equal career best 3 goals last week, 2 in the opening term here. Bit of a hamstring concern for he, and Akers has just emerged from the rooms with that right shoulder heavily strapped. So Declan will keep an eye on the fortunes of the Carlton bench throughout. Clean work at the stoppage from the Giants. Handball to Kelly, who kicks long inside the forward 50. Massive fly, Young. McGovern fell awkwardly in the contest. He gets a pat on the back from Hogan for his trouble. Meanwhile, Fisher was brought down by Ward. Right on the defensive 50, he'll take his kick. But Mitch McGovern's a little bit slow to rise here. Go downstairs to Declan again.
Yeah, ice being applied to Owies' hamstring. I can't see him coming back, so O'Brien should be subbed in any minute now for the Blues.
It's just about as good as putting the jacket on and zipping it up when you're on the bench.
McGovern looks very sore, hobbling from the ground now as well.
Coming to the bench, so the Blues might be 2 down. Meanwhile, Motlop gives it to Cripps at half forward, kicks towards the goal square, but no one home for the Blues. And Cumming, happy to see it through for a rush behind Carlton for 8:32. The Giants 5-3-33, 4 minutes played second term in Grandson AFL.
Cripps is up to 14 disposals already, and he's it looks like young Harry Rouston in his second game of football is running with him at the moment. So welcome to the big league.
Here's a job, Harry. Second game for Rouston. Straight to the Brownlow medalist. Giants chain it by hand out of halfback. Cornelio and Tom Green kick to vacant territory inside 50. Daniels charges out at Wiedering, who jams his kick the other way. Iden couldn't juggle the mark in the sun on the outer side, but Hamilton was there to collect the spoils. Tom Green loops the handball wide to Haynes. Haynes to half forward, neat delivery. And Riccardi's a long way from home, but he can set it up to full forward. Fisher was the goalkeeper on the last line for the Blues. Controlled it nicely. Handball to Doherty in the back pocket. He kicks it straight back to Riccardi.
You might think through this again, because his last kick, he kicked to a 1-on-4 with those Carlton mids getting back inside deep 50. So he's held up, waiting for the Giants' numbers to get forward.
Riccardi does bomb it long again. Plenty numbers in the goal square. Hogan got hands to it, couldn't complete the mark. The Blues share it around the last line of defence. Fisher chips it to Mackay. It's precise. And he marks in the left back pocket just inside the field of play. Blues trail by a point. They're a player down with Owies on the bench with a hamstring injury. O'Brien subbed into the game. And here's Newman in the right back pocket. Touches the ball on the turf. Runs almost his full measure. Then hand passes it off to Doherty from right half back. Bombs it long down the line. Haynes read it best and takes the intercepting mark on the outer wing.
Just controls the air so well, Nick Haynes. Awkward kick to Ash, who made it okay. To the back point of the square now for Cornelio. Giants in their defensive half. They lead by a point. Dangerous kick run down by Mackay in the centre of the ground. They take control though. Tom Green good enough to get it to Ash, to Cornelio by hand to Daniels. Trying to spin free out of the Hollands tackle. He got caught. It's going to be a free kick and advantage to the Giants here. No, it's coming all the way back. Might have caught him high there, Hollands. It is going to end up being paid downfield, in fact, to Hamilton, who's at left half forward for the Giants. Lead by a point, 6 minutes played, second term. He's 65 metres from home. Sends it to the pocket. Hogan charges out, can't take the mark. McGovern spins back into traffic. High kick up and down the mine shaft. Knocked in the direction of Kelly for the Giants. To Haynes from 54 metres out to the top of the goal square. Wiedering had his name written all over it. Took a towering defensive mark at fullback.
Yeah, it's a couple of kicks in a row that the Giants have gone long to the top of the goal square there that have been intercepted. So might have to find a different route to goal. Lower the eyes, hit a short target.
Wiedering to McGovern to Doherty. Back to McGovern. Kicks it into the middle of the ground. It's not a great kick. It's picked off by Green of the Giants. He gives it to Whitfield and now to Ward by hand. From the logo on the broadcast wing, it's a high ball inside 15. The mark's taken by Riccardi. 40 metres out from goal. 45-degree angle to the right.
It was a bit of a game of tennis there for a moment where the Carlton mids and defenders all loaded up in the back half, but when they'd intercept, they'd kick it straight back to all of the Giants mids who were in between the arcs. So Riccardi's plucked one there, almost uncontested. We'd like to go back and put this through.
So we've got a good look behind this from our commentary position. Riccardi, that is dead straight. And for the first time this afternoon, the sides kick back-to-back goals. The Giants, 6-3-39, lead the Blues 4-8-32. 8 played second term on Grandstand AFL. Your experts are Alicia Eva and Joel Patfull.
Yeah, they're just able to control the footy there, the Giants. They had a few long inside 50 like we talked about, but Carlton just kept kicking it back to them. They'd set up their zone really well to be able to come back inside, and eventually they were able to, through weighted numbers really, find that target inside 50. So they've been up and about this first, 8 minutes of this quarter. They've really controlled the game in their half, so be looking for a bit of a response here from the Blues.
In the NRL, Manly and Newcastle couldn't be split in the end. Finishes a 32-all draw. So a great game to kick off an afternoon of National Rugby League. The Dragons and the Dolphins up next before Brisbane and West to finish the evening off. Of course, all that coverage and all our AFL coverage via the ABC Listen app in season 2023. From the restart, Giants with the clearance, but Hamilton's soccer only went as far as Doherty. Now cruising through the middle of the ground is Cripps. On by hand to Sard, who spears the pass inside 50 to Curnow, who got a bit of separation from Buckley and marks 49 out. Slight angle to the left.
Cripps was huge then. He followed contest to contest from that centre bounce and then ended up running and carrying the ball in hand himself, and beautiful kick inside 50.
So Charlie Curnow kicked 5 goals last week, 4 last he played the Giants. Has to kick it from every bit of 54 and got the journey quite convincingly. There was a way to the left and a minor score. 1 straight kick is the margin. The Giants 6-3, the Blues 4-9. 10 minutes gone, second term on Grandstand AFL.
Coming restarts play for the Giants. Chip short to Haynes in the left back pocket. He'll continue kicking it to the outer wing. Buckley had it knocked away from him, and now it goes out of play for a throw-in. Left half back for the Giants. They lead by 6 halfway through the second term on Grandstand AFL.
Yeah, you see Cripps coming through the middle there. They'll be looking for their leaders here to stand up. The momentum's against them, so they need some of their senior players to stand up here, get the ball going forward, and get a score on the board.
Hit a net cleanly down to Chera. Kick smothered by Cumming. Giants back in possession. Canelio underground hand pass. Cowan had a run at it. Peatling back the other way. Able to wrench it clear to Cumming over the top. Awkward one for Lloyd. Sard ran down the kick, was first back to the ball, flared it wide. A good mark taken by Cripps, who wants to go on with it with Nick Haynes. Right half forward, Paddy Cripps has the footy. Sends it to the pocket. Silvani was there. Curnow over the top. Mackay at their feet. He's dragged off it. Clever handball, Silvani. Fisher's kick around the body. Guarded by Ash, who sends a wide ball to Daniels. Nice repelling work off the last line for the Giants by Lockie Ash.
So Daniels is held up, called to play on now. That is a beautiful kick down the line as Hogan presents and takes the mark on centre wing. Quick to kick it over the top, looking for Rouston, but Hollands read it best and takes the intercepting mark for the Blues. He'll send it back to where it came from. Mackay, the target, knocked away from him with venom from Taylor. Picked up by Rouston, who hand passes to Ash in front of the interchange gates. Loops the hand pass over the top to Ward. Has to jam it on the boot. Inside 50. Reading it best is McGovern.
He read it really well then, McGovern, and with the defensive unit around him, it just allowed him to play front shoulder of Harry Himmelberg there.
Did all his good work with the mark, because the kick was pretty average, and then Akers just rides the bump from Hamilton and pulls it in with the left mid. Little party trick from Blake Akers on the outer side. Said, well, my right shoulder's no good, so I'll just start going with one hand. And it worked nicely on that occasion. Sends it high up the outer side wing. Silvani with a rise. Dribbled it to himself in the end. Controlled it. Low kick up the line. Buckley racing out the other way, sends it back with interest. Over the head of Peatling, kept in by Newman. And then it's across off the hands of Akers. It'll be tossed back in, outer side of the ground. Giants by one straight kick. 9 goals in the opening term, just 1 through the 12 minutes of this second term on Grandstand AFL.
What are the coaches doing to us? We had a great game in the first quarter.
Went to shut it down.
Akers and McGovern, both out there.
So from the ball in, and Flynn kicks it out of bounds on the full, so it'll be a free kick to the Blues at right half back. Cowan to bring the ball back in.
Yeah, they're both still out there. I thought Akers was looking like he might not come back on, but they're both out there for Carlton.
Cowan sends it long down the line to a pack, knocked down from Haynes. And Curnow can't take it cleanly. Now Kelly has a go for the Giants. Has a second effort, now finds some space. Dinky little kick out wide, but it's a good one, marked by Buckley at left half back.
Buckley goes short. Measured the kick nicely. Cornelio, in fact Himmelberg it is, who just has to assess things before he absolutely lays into one to half forward. Tackle on Peatling was way too high. He went into that pack headlong. Handball's off and they run it inside the forward 50. Callaghan tried to put the spin move on inside the arc for the Giants. Handball went straight to Cowan and the Tassie product releases the sub, Lockie O'Brien, who certainly can run. He kicks down the outer side. Akers set a task, comes in over the top, knocked it away from Buckley, but the Giants defended it well. Shed it by hand with Haynes and Himmelberg. Long kick down the outer side. Peatling the target. Cowan there for company. Riccardi had a play at it. Socketed off the ground in the end, just inside the 50. Great tackle, McGovern. Wrenches the ball free inside the forward 50 for the Giants. Big pack over it. And it's going to be a ball up. Giants player down behind play as well, which we'll keep an eye on. We've got a ball up 60 out from the GWS goal.
It's Peatling in the hands of the trainers at the moment. He went to ground heavily. And he doesn't look in a good way. So the umpire's just halted play here. Peatling slow to his feet. And he's now walking towards the contest. I think he's okay. He's running inside the forward 50. So from the ball up, comes down to Cripps. He gives it to Motlop. Now to Pittonet, Hewitt and Chera, all by hand. Backwards to Akers. He chips in board. Doherty marks. Will he get 50? He will. So it was knocked away from him and knocked out of his hands from Peatling. So Sam Doherty is going to be marched to within scoring range.
It's disappointing to see that, isn't it? They were struggling to get it inside forward 50, the Blues, and then to give away an undisciplined free kick like that. Disappointing to see. He's usually a pretty good kick as well, Doherty. I'd back him in from 50.
So Kelly's standing the mark about 47 metres out from goal. So Doherty will have to kick it about 50 metres. He shoots from goal, 52 out. It's on its way. It's brilliant from Sam Doherty. And scores a level at Giants Stadium. The Blues 5-9-39. The Giants 6-3-39. 16 played, second term on Grandstand AFL. Your experts are Joel Patfull and Alicia Eva.
Such a beautiful long-range kick, isn't he? You'd almost pencil it down straight away, that goal on the record, but and fantastic to see all players get around him after he kicks that goal. Paddy Cripps has just come off the ground. He's had 19 disposals thus far. He's had a huge quarter, and as you mentioned, when momentum wasn't in the favour of Carlton, he's really got going and just willing his team on here. Good contest.
Yeah, well, the leaders stand up, don't they, when you need them? So Cripps, 19 touches, Doherty kicks one from 50, and you just feel a little bit of a momentum shift. The Giants had a bit of control there, but the Blues look like they're back in it.
He's kicked a couple of absolute bombs this year, Sam Doherty. The one against Richmond in round one was 65-metre set shot and just makes it look so easy. Beautiful, fluid kicking motion from the former co-captain. We know how good it is to see him back out there in Blues colours. Secondary ball up in the middle. Pittonet rips it clear of the contest. Flips the handball up to Chera. He's got so much space. Left foot kick out wide was neat. Found Cowan. Broadcast side between the wing and half back. Over the top for Newman. Joel Peterson and Jess Webster calling it for you on Grandstand AFL. Alicia Eva and Joel Patfull, your experts. Declan Byrne on the boundary. 18 played second term. Scores level at 39 apiece. Hewitt took it off the hands as the ball made its way to half forward for the Blues, but then his awkward kick floated out of bounds on the full. It'll be taken by Whitfield for the Giants. The Blues have made their sub. Matt Owies, after kicking 2 goals in the first term, out with what Declan Byrne tells us with a hamstring complaint. Lockie O'Brien into the game for the Blues, and Connor Sonnen, the sub, unused so far for the Giants.
Whitfield spears it down the line. It's off hands, picked up by Daniels. His hand pass couldn't find Callaghan. And now it spills to Hewitt. He's wrapped up in the tackle. Ball still alive, close to the boundary line. Callaghan with a strong tackle against Silvani. The umpire says, give it to me. It's Callaghan tackling Fisher, in fact. So ball up, centre wing, broadcast side. Scores a level at Giant Stadium as we approach time one of the second term. From the ball up, Green loops the hand pass over the top to Canelio, who slipped as he kick it down the line, and the intercepting mark is taken by Pitternet of the Blues.
Sand bucket out there to replace Steve Canelio's divot. Pitternet sends it long down the line. Curnow, 2 hands. Buckley did enough. He's been good so far on Charlie. As now Motlop takes it, kicks to full forward through the hands of De Koning, sprawling desperately back toward the goal line. Iden nearly ran into the goal umpire and kept it in somehow. Handball to Haynes on the behind line, who kicks it 60 metres outside the defensive 50. Well done from Flynn. Went up, controlled it down. Handball to Callaghan, to Tom Green. Sard came cruising through the other way. Sends it to full forward. It's over the head of Mackay and De Koning. Haynes is back there. He got dumped after he kicked it. Still inside the forward 50 for the Blues. Hewitt centering handball. Motlop with a moment's opportunity. Whitfield was there in the nick of time. Nervous moments. Motlop makes them pay. Canelio got ripped off it by the opposite number 3. And Jesse Motlop creating havoc inside forward 50 for the Blues. Wins a free kick, 40 out.
It's pretty hot. Tough call there, but it looked like Canelio might have just taken possession of the footy when he got tackled, and it spilled out in the tackle. I think let's have a look here on the replay. Yeah, he took him on. It's probably fair enough, but shot inside 50 here.
So he created plenty in the opening term, did Jesse Motlop. Can he convert his own set shot here? 40 metres out, slight angle, strikes it, loves it, and celebrates accordingly. Blues back ahead by 1 straight kick. 20 and a half minutes played second term. It's the Giants 6-3-39. The Blues 6-9-45 on Grandstand AFL.
Looked like a pre-planned celebration, that one, with Durden. But look, that was just that's what you want from your small forwards. If they're not crunching in, winning ground balls at the front of those contests, they're applying tackle pressure, and that's outstanding tackle pressure in that occasion. And Steve Canelio wasn't very happy. I don't think neither was Lockie Whitfield. But Motlop reaps the rewards of some fantastic small forward craft.
9 disposals, 3 inside 50s, and a goal for Jesse Motlop so far today. As we're back in the middle, De Koning rises high, slaps it down to Cripps. And pass to De Koning, looked like a throw. Umpire says play on. Now off to Hewitt. Sends a high ball in the Motlop direction, a half forward. And as he falls to the ground after pushing off Whitfield, he takes the grab at left half forward. He'll wheel around and chip it into the pocket. Taylor got a hand to it as it dribbles towards the behind post. Out of bounds for a throw-in right up against the left behind post. Carlton into attack. They lead by 6, 22 played second term.
Big 5 minutes here for the Giants. They need to really knuckle down, fight an opponent, and just turn this into a contest.
Back-to-back goals for the Blues after the Giants kick back-to-back goals to start the term. Cripps out of the contest. Hooks it on the boot around the body. And a minor score is the result. 7-point margin for the Blues. So 9 goals in the opening term. None of them came back-to-back for either side. The Giants' first of this second term made it back-to-back goals for them. Carlton have kicked 2 goals on the bounce since.
Whitfield from the kick-in, looking for Flynn. It's off hands. Himmelberg picks it up, gives it off to Daniels, runs past the interchange gates. His hand pass just out of bounds. He gave it to Kelly, but he was outside the field of play. So we've got a throw-in centre wing position, broadcast side. We're at Giant Stadium. Margin 7 points the way the Blues. Umpire flicks the ball back into play. DeConey against Flint. Cripps. Hand pass looking for Akers. He's tackled by Green. Dispossessed. Umpire says play on. They dive on top of it. Green wrestling with Cripps, and the umpire eventually says give it to me.
I think Matty Flynn is working overtime as the sole ruckman for the Giants today against DeConing and Pittner in the ruck. So he'll be looking for half-time, I think.
Controlled it nicely there with his left hand. Kick clear of the contest came from Tom Green. Daniels couldn't trap it. Blues back in control at half-back. Akers, nifty little kick around the body. Bounced nicely for Sard. He shoots the handball forward to Doherty, to Cripps, to Chera. Carlton linking up by hand on the broadcast wing. Durden to Doherty, smothered by Kelly. Straight back to Doherty. Kicks infield, looking for DeConing. Had to do ruck tap in the end. Controlled it down. Chera roves it. Handballs away under pressure. Looking for O'Brien, but he got legged. Tom Green turns infield and appeals his case vociferously to the umpire. Chera will take it from just in front of the AFL logo. Kicks to full forward. Silvani and Curnow. Curnow two hands to it. Charlie Curnow controls it at ground level. Handball to Mackay, who turns straight into a tackle from Cornelio. Ball locked up. 35 out from the Carlton goal. They're inside forward 50 and they lead by 7.
Flynn and DeConing tangle. Spills to Chera. Can't take it cleanly. Then on the second attempt does so, but gives it straight to Kelly of the Giants. From right half back. Searching kick down the wing. Looking for Hogan. And it is touched out of play by Lockie Young, so it'll be a throw-in in front of the interchange gates on this broadcast side of the ground. Blues up by 7, 25 played now in this second term.
Still haven't seen much of Toby Green yet this game.
Newman wearing him like a glove throughout. Thoughts of GWS AFLW captain Alicia Reaver with us on Grandstand AFL alongside former Lion, former Giant Joel Patfull. Declan Byrne on the boundary. Joel Peterson, Jess Webster calling it for you. Great to have you with us on Grandstand AFL. Saturday afternoon, wherever you're spending it, right around the network. Oh, Whitfield tried to take on Durden, ran straight into him. Got the handball away on the wing, but he turned it over. Blues through Cripps and Fisher and Durden. In front of the interchange gates now, Silvani. Loops the handball back to Akers. Off a couple of steps, kicks a high ball to half forward. Curnow had 2 to beat and does. Collects it at ground level. Handball to O'Brien. Goal at his mercy. Tugs the kick. Misses it right.
Nick Haynes probably breathing a bit of a sigh of relief there. He went for the classic Nick Haynes intercept mark, or coming off his opponent to take that mark, but late in the quarter, near the boundary, maybe the coaches would be instructing him to belt that one over.
8 points the margin, 26 played second
Sorry,
term.
mate. I was going to say, it's the golden rule as a defender. If you come third in, you got to kill the contest. Either it comes forward or you get over the boundary line. To let it over the back there, it's the number one sin.
Blues by 8 late in this first half. Ash brings the ball back in for the Giants, looking for Callaghan, had too much on it. Knocked away from him by Akers, but Kelly out the back of the contest, kept it alive, jams it on the boot down the wing. Only as far as side of the Blues, who chips it to half forward, looking for Cripps, who had to turn spoiler. Green has a go for the Giants. Now Callaghan picks it up. Gets the hand pass out to Kelly, who then gives it to Haynes under pressure with the kick, but it pays off. Cornelio marks on the point edge of the square, gives it to Whitfield. Hand passes into the middle of the ground to Ward, and now to Ash from centre half back. Flares it out wide to Hamilton. Has Hollins to beat. Hollins did well to bring it to ground and then was bumped over the line by Peatling. A couple of young guns going at it, and we've got a ball in on centre wing out of side.
Up for the scrap over there too.
Great contest, though. Both players turning their body, protecting the head.
Peatling taken in the mid-season draft a couple of years ago. Hollins in the most recent draft out of the Wodonga Bulldogs. Blues making a big impression in his first couple of games. Here is Peatling, collects the kick from the stoppage, hands it off to Cornelio. McGovern smothers it out of play. It'll be tossed back in. Left half forward, Giants into attack. They lead by 3 points at quarter time. They've kicked 1 goal here in this second term, and The Blues have kicked 2 after they combined for 9 goals in the opening term, these two teams. We're 27.5 minutes through the second quarter on Grandstand AFL. De Koning cleanly out of the ruck. Hands it off to Doherty, to Motlop in the long sleeves, now to Silvani, and the run of Ed Curnow, who flares it to left half forward looking for brother Charlie, collects in the right hand. He doesn't see anyone at home, so he eyes the sticks and kicks an absolute beauty. There are so few players in the competition who can do things like that, and Charlie's right at the top of the list. Brilliance from Curnow. He hits the score sheet for the afternoon. Carlton's third goal in a row gives them a 14-point lead. 7-11-53. The Giants 6-3-39. And we played 28 in the second term.
He's been held quite well until that point. He just got a little bit of space. Got Jack Buckley running back towards goal. It's the one thing as a defender, it's always the hardest. Curnow turns him around there, gets a bit of space and puts it through. It's a great goal, and he really didn't have that much space to work with, but that shows how good he is.
And Carlton just beating the Giants at their own game there, just so easily able to transition that ball from half back and change lanes down the ground.
It's a game-high 14-point lead now for the Blues. Another errant bounce in the middle, so we'll do it all again. Flynn against De Koning. Chera tracks the footy. Tackled immediately by Kelly. It spills loose to Cripps, who gives it to Motlop from centre half forward. Chips it into the pocket over the head of O'Brien. Mackay comes streaming out. Can't take it cleanly. Taylor picks it up and hacks it out of the danger zone to the outer side wing. McGovern will pick it up for the Blues. He's tackled and dispossessed by Peatling. Got the hand pass away, but the Giants come up with it through Ward. Loops the hand pass over the top to Canelio from centre half forward. He bangs it towards goal, and it's offline to the right. The Blues 7-11-53. The Giants 6-4-40. 30 minutes played second term Grandstand AFL.
Some tired looking boys out there at the moment. It's been fast footy going end to end. James Peatling working hard defensively.
It's a soft 7 out here at Western Sydney this afternoon. De Koning thumps the kick into the safety of the boundary. It'll be tossed back in. Yeah, showers earlier, but cleared up just before the start of play, and Declan Byrne told us it wouldn't rain, and it hasn't so far. There's a precise prognostication from our boundary rider in Grandstand AFL this afternoon. Umpire gets set to fling it back into play. Dying seconds of this second term. Flynn out of the ruck, kicks an inverse torpedo to centre half forward, and Hamilton takes the mark right at the top of the 50. Cooper Hamilton just inside the centre square, sends it to full forward. It clears the pack, but it's away to the right. And a minor score gets us to half-time here at Giants Stadium. 9 goals in the first term between these two sides. They went goal for goal throughout. The Giants kicked the first goal of that term at the 8-minute mark through Jake Riccardi, but Carlton kicked 3 in a row to end it. Those goals coming to Doherty, to Motlop, and a brilliant goal to Charlie Curnow. And Carlton reaches the long break ahead by 12 points. 7-11-53 the Blues to the Giants 6-5-41. Goals for Carlton, coupled to Matt Owies, who's since been subbed out of the game with a hamstring complaint. Lockie O'Brien is into the action for Carlton. Goal to Charlie Curnow, to Corey Durden, to Sam Doherty, to Jesse Motlop, and to Jack Silvani. For the Giants, Riccardi with a goal in that second term. Hogan kicked 2 in the first. Kelly, Daniels and Callan Ward each kicked goals in that opening term. Earlier today down at Launceston, it was Hawthorn too good by 19 points over North Melbourne. 29 disposals to Will Day and 3 goals to Tyler Brockman in that game. So first win of the season for the Hawks. And later tonight, of course, don't go anywhere, a couple of big games coming up. Big celebration for St Kilda at the MCG of their 150th year against Essendon. Corbin Middlemass, Ben Cameron to lead the team there. And then, of course, the showdown for our South Australian listeners with Aaron Bryans and Neil Cross bringing you all the action from the Adelaide Oval as the Powered on the Prison Bars and take on the Crows. 12 points the lead here of Carlton at half-time. The thoughts of our grandstand AFL experts, former Giant and Lion Joel Patfull, and Giants women's captain Alicia Eva. What have you made of the opening half, Joel?
Well, it's a very entertaining game of footy, isn't it? It was end-to-end, it was fast, it was high-scoring, and then it probably halfway through that quarter, the game shifted a little bit with a little bit more of a defensive mindset. They're able to slow the ball down a bit, and Carlton probably got on top and were able to be a little bit more efficient inside 50. They scored a little bit easier, and their leaders got involved. It was Cripps, Doherty and Sard coming off hard back that really got that ball going forward, and they were able to score. On the other hand, the Giants, you could feel that momentum kind of changed in Carlton's favour, so would have loved to see them slow the ball down a little bit, kick it around, take a bit of that momentum off, rather than trying to go back at them, and then Carlton were able to score again.
Yeah, I think it's spot on. I think the quarter started, I guess, the way the first quarter played out. It was a bit of an arm wrestle. The Giants kept kicking long inside forward 50 to that, I guess, that swarm of Blues defenders and mids that are getting down there in front of the likes of Hogan and Riccardi. So it was a bit of kick it inside 50 and then the Blues are giving it straight back. But I think the Blues' pressure around the ball went up. That Paddy Cripps certainly led the way there. He started getting plenty of the football linking up. Just looking at his
25.
stats now, 25 disposals to half-time and 5 clearances. But, he certainly got going. The pressure went up from a Carlton perspective, and the Giants, they looked a bit panicked with some of their ball use out of the defensive half as a result of that. So they weren't able to get the ball in over the back of the forwards and get the space that they had in the first quarter. So Credit to Carlton. Their leaders got going. Their pressure went up. And as mentioned in the back half of that quarter, Carlton started playing or beating the Giants at their own game with the ball just easily being able to be transitioned from D50 to forward 50.
We spoke about the importance of that sort of key forward matchup before the start of the game. How have we seen the job that the Giants defenders have done on the Twin Towers? Only the one goal between Mackay and Curnow so far.
They've been pretty good, I think, and there's been a lot of space down there as well. They've had a little bit of help with Haynes. He's been good coming third off and chopping that off a little bit. But one-on-one, they've been really solid. I wouldn't say there's been too many contests where the Giant defenders have let themselves down. Obviously, Curnow got a little bit of space outside 50 and kicked a goal. On the other end, Hogan looked really dangerous as well early, and then he's been kept pretty quiet. So I think we'll see, as the game opens up a little bit more, those Carlton key forwards in particular are going to get a few more opportunities in the second half.
And they're certainly doing their job, I guess, up the ground. So Carlton, I think they're quite high up there in the competition in terms of contested marks, and of course they are with the likes of Mackay and Curnow and Pitt and these talls. So that long down the line game that so often teams look for options before the LDL option, but with those Twin Towers working up the ground, they take contested marks. It's a real weapon for them, so it's something that the Giants certainly have to put some time and effort into, particularly with Matt Flynn almost as a standalone ruck. He's having to cover a lot of ground, and it's going to be very difficult for him to get from contest to contest as the game goes on.
Spoken about some of the Carlton smalls, but one who's caught the eye today for the Giants so far has been Brent Daniels. He missed so much footy over the last couple of years with injury concerns. He does a little bit of everything. He probably doesn't have the greatest amount of size in the world, does little Brent, but he doesn't lack for energy and intensity. And he's again out there and buzzing around. He brings such a dynamic to that sort of forward half of the ground for the Giants.
He certainly does, and he's got speed. He's got absolute speed to burn, and he's got silky skills as well. So when the Giants get the ball in his hands, usually something comes of it, and it usually results in a score. So they'll be looking to get him more involved in between the arcs, and he sets up play really nicely. And when he hits the scoreboard himself, the boys love to get around him. So he's not an overly loud bloke, is he, Joel? He's pretty quiet, but the boys absolutely love the energy he brings.
Well, you can't underestimate energy and on the football field. You can't replicate that, and some guys can play a game of footy and not have that kind of impact. So to be around the footy and have energy and have an impact on the contest, you don't get a stat for it, but you notice it from the stands, you notice it on the field. Extremely valuable as a player.
He's always been the same, Brent Daniels. He played full forward in his draft year for the Bendigo Pioneers, coming out of Nainai West, and at about 170-odd centimetres, he was kicking bags left, right and centre. So he's got some tricks. He's a very different player in the top flight, but he does add a lot to the mix for the Giants. Half-time here at Giants Stadium, And it is Carlton who took control in that second term to lead by 12 points, 7-11-53 to 6-5-41. So much happening in the world of sport. Of course, the Australian Grand Prix this weekend at Albert Park in Melbourne. There's NRL on, there's Super Netball just across the road as well at Ken Rosewall Arena. So we'll update you with all of that very shortly. So much footy to look forward to later tonight. And the second half here of what's been an entertaining clash at Giants Stadium. 13 goals between these two sides in the first half, and it's the Blues who lead it by 2 straight kicks at the main change. That is all coming up very soon here on Grandstand AFL, but first, let's get you the latest from ABC News.
Hello, this is ABC News with David Rowlands. Polls will close shortly in the by-election being held in the federal East Melbourne seat of Aston. Nicholas Hines reports.
Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and opposition leader Peter Dutton have spent today in Melbourne's east in a flurry of last-minute campaigning for their party's candidates in the race to replace former Cabinet Minister Alan Tudge. Cost of living pressures and local issues such as roads have been front of mind for Aston voters, but the poll is also being seen as a test of Mr Dutton's leadership. And if Labor can win the traditionally safe Liberal seat, it'll be the first time in a century a government has taken a seat off the opposition in a by-election. Counting begins after polls close at 6 o'clock.
The Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, says it's an outstanding result for New South Wales Labor to have a workable majority. Labor has been able to form majority government in the state. The ABC has called 2 of the 3 remaining seats in doubt for the Liberal Party, and that's Terrigal and Holsworthy. Mr Albanese says Premier Chris Minns will be a great leader for New South Wales.
It's an outstanding result for Chris Minns to be able to form a government in New South Wales, and he clearly will have a workable majority. There are people on the crossbenches who've signed up to confidence and supply very early on.
US President Donald Trump is expected to face court in the coming days on charges related to hush money payments to women made during his 2016 election campaign. Larry Buttrose has the story.
The charges include at least 1 felony offence, although the exact charges in the grand jury indictment remain sealed for now. Not only will it be the first time a former US president has faced criminal charges, it'll be Mr Trump's first serious legal jeopardy despite 40 years of scrutiny, and will test whether he retains the nickname Teflon Don. Mr Trump is expected to turn himself into authorities on Tuesday, and like any other person facing trial, he'll be fingerprinted and photographed, but is not expected to be handcuffed for the court appearance. Republicans have lashed out at the indictment, claiming it's politically motivated.
A large and destructive tornado has hit the US city of Little Rock in the southern state of Arkansas, resulting in at least 2 deaths and over 20 injuries. The tornado overturned vehicles, uprooted trees, destroyed a shopping centre and collapsed homes. Authorities have declared a state of emergency and a mass casualty event. Footage of the tornado was captured live on air on the Little Rock TV network, KTHV.
West Little Rock right now being impacted by a confirmed tornado with debris, and here it is, and could be a strong tornado, EF2 or stronger. This is exactly what we didn't want to happen.
Over Reservoir Road at this time.
Over Reservoir Road. We're going to keep it here. We're going to follow it. Certainly looks like a tornado. Oh, my goodness.
The United States is to open an embassy in Vanuatu. Washington says the new mission would help its diplomats deepen their relationship with the Pacific Island nation. It would also boost development assistance, including on measures to combat climate change. It comes as the US and China vie for position in the Pacific region, amid Western fears of Beijing extending its sphere of influence. A man charged with abducting 2 boys from their home in Western Australia's Wheatbelt has made a brief appearance at Perth Magistrates Court. Ashley Davis has the details.
34-year-old Jonathan Richard Anthony is accused of breaking into a home in Mora, 2 hours north of Perth, and abducting an 8-year-old boy and his 12-year-old brother in the early hours of Friday morning. The Mora local is facing 7 charges, including 2 counts of forcibly or enticing away a child under 16 and deprivation of liberty. The magistrate read the charges to Mr Anthony, who did not indicate he understood. Mr Anthony, via his legal representative, did not apply for bail. He will remain in custody until his next appearance for legal advice on May 1st.
The search for a 78-year-old Brisbane woman missing from an inner-city suburb has entered its 3rd day. Police say the woman was last in contact with family on Monday. Her mobile phone and wallet were found at her Toowong address by family on Tuesday. Specialist police are searching Mount Cootha hiking trails and the Brisbane River for the avid bushwalker. Officers have serious concerns for the woman's safety and are urging anybody with information to contact police. And a worker has died after being electrocuted at a city council building in Sydney southwest. Emergency crews were called to the Bankstown Civic Centre on Rickard Road around 11:30 this morning after reports of a workplace accident. Despite the efforts of paramedics, the man, aged in his 30s, died at the scene. His death is now being investigated by police and Safe Work New South Wales. ABC News.
Ready for some fun? The Melbourne International Comedy Festival is back, and it all began with the gala hosted by Luke McGregor.
Thanks for clapping when I came out. That means a lot.
With an all-star lineup.
We're all in this crazy mixed-up world together, though, aren't we? And now, thanks to unisex toilets, we actually are.
The Melbourne International Comedy Festival. The gala. Excellent! Stream it now on ABC iView. Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Forward by hand from the logo on the broadcast wing. It's a high ball inside 15. The mark's taken by Riccardi. 40 metres out from goal, 45-degree angle to the right. Got a good look behind this from our commentary position. Riccardi, that is dead straight. Doherty will have to kick it out 50 metres. He shoots from goal, 52 out. It's on its way. It's brilliant from Sam Doherty.
Jesse Montlock, can he convert his own set shot here? 40 metres out, slight angle, strikes it, loves it, and celebrates accordingly. Now to Silvani and the run of Ed Curnow, who flares it to left half forward looking for brother Charlie. Collects in the right hand. He doesn't see anyone at home, so he eyes the sticks and kicks an absolute beauty.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Sounds of the second term from Giants Stadium. Individual brilliance from Charlie Curnow, the third Carlton goal of that term. They all came in a row after these two sides combined for 9 goals in the first term that were traded at either end throughout. Giants kicked the first of the second term, Carlton with the next 3. The Blues head into half-time up by 12 points. 7-11-53 to GWS 6-5-41. Joel Peterson and Jess Webster calling it for you. Great to have you with us on ABC Radio, Sport Digital, News Radio and via the ABC Listen app. Alicia Eva, the GWS AFLW captain and former Giant and Lion Joel Patfull, your experts, and Declan Byrne on the boundary. Now, Jess, we've made the trip up from Melbourne here to Sydney today, and your place of residence is in the city. Can you hear the Formula One cars from your house at the moment?
I can.
Can you see them?
Yes, I can see the track, I can see the crowd. If I get my binoculars out, I can see the cars. So I'm pretty close to the action, but definitely hear it loud and clear, that's for sure.
It's Australian Grand Prix weekend, and it's gone to another level this weekend around Albert Park. Qualifying for tomorrow's main race held a little bit earlier this afternoon. And if you're waiting to tune in, as I often do, a little bit later on, maybe turn your radio down now because there is a spoiler alert. Oscar Piastri missed out. He was knocked out in the first part of qualifying. He'll line up on the grid 16th for tomorrow. Red Bull's Sergio Perez, second in the championship, bore out the red flag with an off at turn 13 in that first part of qualifying, so he will start last on the grid. And Max Verstappen, the two-time reigning world champion, has claimed pole position by 2.5 tenths from Mercedes' George Russell. Lewis Hamilton in third, so Mercedes 2-3. Fernando Alonso on the podium in the first 2 races of the season is fourth. Then the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz, the other Aston Martin of Lance Stroll, Charles Leclerc, the championship runner-up last year, 7th. And Alex Albon, Pierre Gasly and Nico Hulkenberg rounding out the top 10. Lando Norris, the McLaren teammate of Piastri, qualifying 13th. So main race tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock. And we'll have Ben Cameron there providing coverage on Grandstand throughout our AFL coverage. In the A-League today, earlier today, Melbourne victory 1 away at Wellington Phoenix 2-1. It's half-time between the Central Coast Mariners and Brisbane Roar in the men's competition. 3-0 the Mariners over the Roar. Last night, Adelaide United continuing their unbeaten run with a 3-2 win away to Western Sydney. In the National Rugby League earlier today, a thriller going all the way into extra time, and the Sea Eagles and the Knights couldn't be separated at 32 apiece. 30 minutes into the second game of the day between the Dragons and the Dolphins. It's 12-6 the way of St George. And yesterday, of course, the Panthers, big winners over the Raiders, and the Melbourne Storm beating the Rabbitohs in Sydney. In the Super Netball, just down the road from us here at Ken Rosewall Arena, the Swifts are in action against the Firebirds, and they trail 43-47 in the late stages of that game. In the NRL later tonight, Brisbane and West Tigers, the late game. In the AFL, no matter where you are, of course, you can hear our NRL and our AFL coverage via the ABC Listen app this year. On the AFL button on the Listen app, you'll get St Kilda and Essendon in the call tonight. Corbin Middlemass, Ben Cameron, Mark Murphy, Luke Ball and Lauren Borden, your call team there. We'll check in with Corby at three-quarter time of our game for a preview of that. And if you're in South Australia, it is always a massive week, showdown week. And with Port Adelaide donning the prison bars tonight, that is absolutely no exception. Port beaten last week after a strong start to the season, and the Crows have... anything can happen in a showdown, that is for sure. That's one thing we do know over recent years. So Aaron Bryan, Neil Cross, Rod Jamieson, Josh Franku, and the very smooth Jack Paqueta on the boundary for that game tonight. You can get that one via the AFL Extra button on the ABC Listen app. About a minute and a half away from the resumption here of the second half. Alicia Eva and Joel Patfull are your experts on Grandstand AFL. Expecting any changes for the second half here?
Well, I'd like to see a few changes, to be honest with you. I think I'd like to see Toby Green up around the ball, maybe even just for a centre bounce, get him involved in the game. He's only had the 3 touches and been held really quiet inside 50. Harry Himmelberg as well, potentially chucking down back to get the ball moving a little bit. That's what I can see from a Giants point of view. As for the Blues?
Great call, Joel. Look, I think that the Blues certainly finished that quarter with their tail up. I think we know that they've got the safety of sending Silvani down back if momentum swings against them, and they did that late in that second quarter. Just to start winning a bit of ball in the back half. And, I don't think the Blues will throw too many changes at the moment. They probably were pretty happy going into half-time, but I wouldn't mind seeing Toby Green up around the ball a little bit more.
Someone has to go to Cripps as well, I think. He's been too dangerous. 25 touches to half-time. They've got to put a bit of work into him.
Yeah. 8 score involvements as well and 5 clearances. Paddy Cripps. Certainly been dangerous.
Yes, I think Ben Hart would have been looking closely at that at half-time. So at the moment, Steve Cornelio is lining up next to him at centre bounce. But I wouldn't be surprised if someone gets a more permanent run-with role there.
Toby Green is standing at centre-half forward, just inside the forward 50.
Tell you what, it seems as if the wind is picked up out there and it's looking slightly more gloomy. So
we had a bright sunshine in patches throughout that second term, and
we were assured.
Yeah, right, yes.
We were assured. Declan, what's the weather doing down there?
It's coming.
Joel Patfull, I don't like this attitude. Look, there's a few more grey clouds, but I can still see blue sky. I'm holding out hope.
So the Blues by 12 at half-time. See if the Giants can stay with them in this second half. The umpire slams the ball into the turf and we're underway. Pitternet for the Blues in the ruck. Hand passes straight to Kelly of the Giants. He loops a hand pass over the top looking for Cornelio. It's picked up by Green. He gives it to Cornelio, stripped of it. Picked up by Cripps of the Blues, who sends it down the line looking for McKay, but it had too much on it, out of bounds for a throw-in on centre wing position, out of side.
Certainly has got a little bit darker in the sky. There's not a lot on the radar to suggest there's any rain coming, though. Flynn, front spot decisively, straight down to that man, Patrick Cripps, who gets the clearance. Kick off hands up toward half forward. Motlop collects cleanly at ground level, and he's wrapped up in a tackle by Ash and Whitfield. A ball up on the front edge of the square for the Blues. Kicking to the Olympic Stadium end, the right of your radio dial here in this third period of play. At the contest, it's going to be a Shepherd going against Flynn, who the umpire said put the leg out to keep Pitternet out of the contest. Nick Brown, Tom Bryce, Craig Fleer and Cameron Dorr, our 4 umpires this afternoon. So Pitternet to take it from half forward for the Blues. He had Sard and Chera looping past. Elects to chip it defensively infield to Newman, who's got a raking left boot. Kicks an absolute sack inside the forward 50. Motlop took it brilliantly off hands, hooks it around the body. Will it stay in play? It floats in the air in front of Charlie Curnow, and he's slapped out by Buckley, who's had his hands full this afternoon, but has done a good job, and he finds the safety of the boundary line throw in right forward pocket for the Blues.
Every single player is in the Blues front third at the moment.
Pitternet and Flynn in ruck. Pitternet takes front position. Straight down to Kelly, though, of the Giants. Under pressure with the kick towards half-back. Chera in a battle with Ward, who brings him to ground. Ball's out of play. Throw in it right half forward for Carlton. It was the Giants by 3 at quarter time. Carlton had the better of that second term to lead by 12 at the half. Blues 1 win and a draw this year. And the Giants 1 win and 1 loss. All back into play. Pitternet palms it down. Now Newman releases Chera by hand from half forward. It's a long ball to a dangerous position. Curnow got rid of his opponent, couldn't take the mark, follows up at ground level, throws it on the boot, but it's offline for a minor score. Carlton moved to 7-12-54, leading the Giants 6-5-41. 2.5 play third term on Grandstand AFL.
We spoke about a run with role the Giants might opt to go with to nullify Paddy Cripps, but at the moment he seems to be doing what he wants. He's matching up on Tom Green, but they kind of separate around the ground.
Do they have an option they could go to? Do you think Alicia to go with Cripps?
Green's had 21 of his own.
He has, and that's what you don't want to do. You don't want to take away one of your ball users. You might opt to say to some of the ball winners, you guys go head to head and see who comes up trumps. But there are a few options. It'll be interesting to see if Kingsley pulls the trigger.
Iden's got a half back for the Giants. Kick down the line off the hands of Hogan. Taken by Pitternet at ground level. There is Cripps. Another disposal. Doherty a full pirouette as he made his way through the centre of the ground. Chips to the centre circles for Silvani. Rolls onto his right boot. Kicks it off his shin in the end. Cumming got a hand to it. Kept his feet. Dragged down by Durden. Umpire says he was over. Great tackling pressure from Corey Durden. And it'll be thrown back in. Right half forward for the Blues. We've played 3.5 in this third term. Carlton lead by 13 points.
Ball back into play. Pitternet again in front position. Palms it down. Green has a go for the Giants. Picked up by Pitternet. It ricochets towards half forward. Whitfield collects for the Giants. His kick smothered by Pitternet. Spills to Doherty of the Blues. His hand pass finds Akers from along the boundary line. Sends the Blues back inside. Attack. Curnow was the target. Knocked away from him by Buckley. We've got a throw in 40 metres around from the Blues goal. They lead by 13.
And you talk about what options the Giants have up their sleeve to tag. Lockie Ash last year played a really defensive role in the midfield as that tagger, but Kingsley opting to keep him as that running half-back.
Throw-in falls short of both rucks. Hamilton was there scooping it up.
I wouldn't mind seeing Cogs go to him for a few stoppages. This has put a bit of pressure on him. They're just not getting close enough around the contest here as he gets another clearance.
Handballs it out.
Under the footy.
Drags it back in. Handballs it out again. Hamilton fisted it forward, only to Chera. Kicks to full forward. Mackay was out. Motlop knocked it on. Here is Cornelio. Has a fumble inside the defensive 50. Keeps it alive. Taylor. Handball to the right back pocket now for Ash. Hemmed in along the boundary line. Looks infield. Doesn't see a lot that he likes. On his non-preferred, kicks outside the defensive 50 straight to Sard, who's 55 from home. Pokes it inside the arc and finds Motlop. Motlop's 45 metres out on a 45-degree angle to the left of centre.
Do you send Toby Green to him?
Well, I think you got to try something at the moment. He's looking very dangerous in there at the moment. He's had another, 3-4 disposals to start this quarter off, and everything he does is really damaging. So I think that's what you got to weigh up with putting something towards him.
Motlop kicked one in the second term. He'll have to kick this from just inside the 50. He gets a run up, he strikes it, it's out to the right-hand side. Big pack forms, Iden gets a fist in there and finds the safety of the boundary line to throw in the right forward pocket for the Blues.
I certainly wouldn't send Toby as a run with roll, but to just get him up around stoppage. Toby Green is such a threat at stoppage himself, and he's looking like he's trying to get up the ground a little bit.
Throw in deep forward pocket for Carlton. Pitternet palms it down, whistle on play, free kick to the Giants for a hold Tom Green, the recipient of the free kick. He's got it in the left back pocket for the Giants. They trail by 13. Call to play on, so he just winds up and sends a long ball to the wing. Pitternet had a good run at it. Couldn't complete the mark. Hamilton close to the lines, over and out for a throw in between wing and half forward, and the Blues attacking half of the ground.
It looks simple, that contest there. They brought the ball forward out of bounds, but that's the one that Carlton were letting over the back in the first half and opening up their defence. So well played there, forced another stoppage.
Well, to former Giant, former Lion, Joel Patfull with you on Grandstand AFL. De Koning took a clean out of the ruck after getting rid of Flynn. Kicks inside the 50 and Charlie Curnow comes charging out of full forward and plucks it out of the clouds in the pack. 45 from home.
That's a big grab. We talked about the keys, how they're going to look in the second half, and it was a big contest. Buckley was right with him there, but shows the class of Curnow. Strong hands straight through the contest.
He hasn't had a lot of room to operate in so far, Charlie Curnow, but he doesn't need a lot of room to do his best work. He stabbed at that kick, kept it low and tugged it to the left-hand side. Margin 14 points the way of the Blues. 55 plays 41. We're 7.5 minutes through the third on Grandstand AFL.
Irrespective of whether it's Cripps or any of the other Carlton midfielders, they're just too easily getting access to the ball, and the Giants mids need to tighten up. They haven't won any of the footy. Hasn't been any footy inside the Giants forward half so far this quarter.
Coming from the kick in, kicks long to the outer side. Flynn wins a free kick in the marking contest. He's got a defensive side of the wing. Kicks long down the line. Hogan, the target, gets out the back. Young for the Blues to McGovern, now to Doherty, and now to Cripps, all by hand. Lovely kick into the centre corridor, finds Silvani. His hand pass to Akers, loops the hand pass over the top to Mackay. He loops the hand pass over the top inside 50. O'Brien lost his feet, picked up by Buckley of the Giants to Cornelio. And now Taylor, who just whacks it down the corridor to a contest. Off hands, picked up by Doherty of the Blues to Chera. Swings the hand pass across to Wiedering. And now McGovern from the centre circles, chips it forward to Silvani, who marks, plays on, bullets a pass into the path of Mackay. Had a free option in the goal square, which was Motlop, but he's decided to go back on his line and shoot for goal, 40 out.
Yeah, great one-on-one contest in the middle. Newman on Toby Green. Looks dangerous. Newman was able to nullify it. Turnover straight back down the other end of the ground.
Blues just all over the Giants at the moment. Their pressure around the ball, if they're not winning it at the source, their pressure is making sure they get it back quickly.
Harry Mackay from 45. Good off the boot, but faded late for a minor score. But it's a new game-high lead to Carlton. 15 points in the clear. 7-14, 56 to the Giants. 6-5, 41.
Mentioned it earlier, the ground. I think the players are starting to have a few issues slipping over out on the ground out there. So I wonder if they pack their long stops. Do they exist anymore, long stops?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Short kick from Kelly at half-back. Trying to possess the footy here and just get some time with it in their hands, the Giants. Carlton have been monstering them so far in this third term. Cowan in trouble on the outer side, got caught. He turned into a sea of orange jumpers. And Hogan wins the free kick, centre wing outer side for the hosts. Down by 15 points. As Jess said, it's the biggest margin of the game so far. Long kick to centre half forward. Flynn brought it down nicely. Lloyd, clever kick into the pocket. Who's back there to run onto it? Fisher is for Carlton. And whether he meant it or not, he socketed it through for a rush behind from the top of the defensive goal square. Margin back to 14, 10.5 played third term on Grandstand AFL.
Cripps up to 30 touches for the Carlton. We've still got a lot of game time left as Chera will bring the ball back in for the Blues. Kicks long to this broadcast side of the ground. Haynes in front position against Mackay. Brings it to ground. Daniels collects. Tackled immediately. Ball up left half forward for the Giants.
Carlton just seem to be getting more numbers to every contest at the moment. Just look a little bit fresher.
Flynn palms it down to Ed Curnow. He's wrapped up immediately by Kelly and will have a stoppage left half forward for the Giants.
This ground would be reminiscent of many community footy grounds across much of the southeastern states. Of course, community footy back in a big way for a lot of leagues this weekend. Coming at the contest, kicks inside the 50. And Sam Doherty takes the mark back there. Goes across the defensive goal face to Newman. Spins the footy in his hands and then touches it on the turf. Comes back to Doherty. Still inside the defensive 50 for the Blues, who have used their sub, Lockie O'Brien, out there in the place of Matt Owies, who kicked 2 goals in the opening term and was subbed out with a hamstring injury. Giants sub Connor Stone still to be used in the ball game. As Young spears his pass up the line and finds Cowan, who spins the footy in his hands at left half back. Right foot kick to the AFL logo. Iden got rid of Silvani illegally, said the umpire. Free kick to the Blue from right on halfway.
Kicks laterally to Doherty on the edge of the square. Continues to switch to Newman. It's marked just defensive side of the centre circles. And send it back the other way to Wiedering, who's marked. Still inside the centre square. Defensive side of the centre circles. Called to play on now. He'll just bomb it long down the corridor. It's a wobbly kick inside 50, and Buckley got rid of Mackay, but it was legal, and then he flares it across to Haynes, who's marked at left half back, chips forward to Daniels.
So Daniels immediately goes, kick touched by McGovern, almost fell into the lap of Fisher, then Daniels was straight back onto him. What a free kick, terrific second effort. Play on an advantage to the Giants. Ralston to Hamilton. Kick down the line looking for Green. Chera got thrown into the turf. Slammed into it by Riccardi. He's a little bit ginger getting up at him, Chera, but he's okay. He takes a free kick at half-back, bites off a diagonal kick into the centre of the ground for Doherty. And now to Silvani, who creates some overlap run. Out to left half forward for Charlie Curnow. 55 from home. He's already done it from here. Sends it to full forward. Himmelberg gets back there and applies a timely fist to see it through for a rush behind and restore a 15-point lead to Carlton.
It's a textbook ball movement there from Carlton. Kick inside, overlap run, hit the forward target over the back. Didn't quite pull it off, but looking very smooth.
So the Giants bring it in. Kelly loops a hand pass over the top to Cumming from left half back. It's a good kick down the line to Riccardi, who's got a bit of space at half forward. Marks in front of Young. 2 kicks from goal. Wheels around. It's a wobbler into the pocket. Couldn't find Toby Green out of play for a throw-in 30 round from the Giants' goal.
The first time the Giants had a decent look going inside 50 there, but unfortunately Riccardi probably just rushed the kick a little bit and probably more so came off his ankle than his boot.
For the Giants, AFLW captain Alicia Reaver with you on Grandstand AFL. Tossed back in. Hogan the ruck work. Cripps the clearance work for Carlton. 31 for Patrick Cripps. Career best is 41. So he's very much on pace. Iden takes it back for the Giants. Handball infield to Tom Green. To full forward Hogan. Ended up matched up on Chera then of all players and made advantage of the mismatch. He's taken it 30 out, tight angle to the left, wastes no time, hooks it around, keeps it low, kicks it straight to Wiedering on the goal line. As if it was a set play, Wiedering just had to accept it to his chest and outlet to Sard.
The Blues work it to half back. And Doherty marks, kicks inboard to O'Brien. He gives it to Sard from centre half back. Defensive hand pass to McGovern, who then flares it out wide to Chera. Lovely well-weighted kick, and he's quick to play on. Spears the kick to Curnow at half forward in a tangle with Buckley, who did really well to bring it to ground. Chases after it, but ran out of real estate, so we've got a throw in between wing and half forward, and Carlton's attacking half of the ground.
I hate to say it, but do you kick a drop punt from there? I don't want to be that player, but
just got to get enough on it. Yeah. just under-clubbed, Jesse Hogan. He took the pitching wedge when he needed at least a 5-iron. And 35 out. Hit an in ruck, controls it down to himself. Some crafty work. Akers to Doherty, caught by Lloyd, just got it away. Handball infield was taken by Ward to Cornelio to Himmelberg, out to half forward for Peatling. Peatling's got options everywhere. Riccardi's in the pocket. Hogan's over the top. He holds it up. And Jake Riccardi will go back. He's 30 metres out. Really the opposite spot on the ground to what Hogan had the shot a couple of moments ago. He's out to the right on just worse than a 45-degree angle.
And we spoke about what changes the Giants might make this quarter. Harry Himmelberg went into the ruck then, and he competed against Pitnet. Didn't win the tap, but he followed up at ground level, so looking a little bit more dynamic through there.
So Jake Riccardi, goalless in his first 2 games this season, has one to his name already, and that's a poor set shot. That didn't look like it off the boot. Minor score, 14 points the margin. Giants 6-7, Carlton a wasteful 7-15. 17 minutes played, third term on Grandstand AFL.
6 consecutive behinds now for both these sides as Wiedering, or Pitternet rather, almost takes a towering mark, brought it to ground, picked up by Motlop, hand pass to Ed Kono, defensive hand pass to Doherty. From the wing, broadcast side just kicks to space at half forward. And it'll be Cumming who'll get there first for the Giants, picks it up inside the defensive 50 and then kicks short to Whitfield. He'll chip it over the top to Rouston. His hand pass to Cumming, hit him in the head. Ball goes to ground, picked up by Silvani. The right foot snap around the corner to full forward. There's a whistle on play. Free kick to the Giants. And it was Taylor who took the mark anyway. Hand passes over the top to Iden. It's a wobbly kick from the back pocket. Saad dropped the mark, but then good enough to hand pass to Fisher. Low ball inside the arc is juggled by Whitfield, but it's a free kick to... I think that's Callaghan who finds Hogan inside the centre square.
Hogan sliding in to the overlap run now of Callaghan as the Giants generate some burst, and that's an awful kick. Newman, too easy.
It's an awful kick, but the Giants forwards aren't leading up at the kicking leg. They're all wanting the ball over the back, so it's asking a lot of these mids to try and pinpoint a pass, and it's someone leading up at the kicker.
Silvani to Hewitt on the broadcast side of the ground. Alicia Eva and Joel Patford, your experts on Grandstand AFL. Joel Peterson, Jess Webster calling it for you, and Declan Byrne on the boundary. Neat kick from Hewitt to Durden. Durden drops it inside the 50 to De Koning, who's marked 49 metres out. He's right between the numbers of the 50 and the boundary line. Out to the right. Hasn't kicked a lot of goals in his 44th game. 12 goals, 13 for Tom De Koning. Gets out onto his left boot and misses it by a long way. Just sneaks through for a minor score. They've combined for 1 goal, 1 worth of behinds here in this second term. 7-16 plays 6-7. We're 18 minutes, nearly 19 minutes through the third.
Crowd just getting a little restless. I'd love to see a goal.
There you go, and get some $2 hot chips, I think, Jess, a lot of them.
So coming from the kick in, has a couple of bounces and loads up and sends it to the outer side. Riccardi in the pack. I think it was an unrealistic attempt. The mark was taken by Wiedering anyway on centre wing. Chips it short to Cripps. It's up to 32. Having a day out here at Giant Stadium. He'll send the Blues into attack, but Haynes takes the easy intercept mark for the Giants.
Been good, Nick Haynes. Had an injury-interrupted couple of years. His best was absolutely spectacular for the Giants in defence. He found Ward at centre-half back, who assessed all options and then kicks right up the middle of the ground, and that's a terrific mark from Rouston, the second gamer. Flares it out wide inside the forward 50 and finds Peatling. But great work from young Harry Rouston.
It was an ambitious kick, wasn't it, by Ward to go through the middle, but it's been end-to-end, hasn't it? No team's really stopped and chipped it around, held up the ball. They've both been going for it, trying to hit those kicks, and sometimes that's what happens. If you get the kick through, you're inside 50, having a shot at goal.
So Rouston marked against a 2-on-1. Wasn't in his favour. Now Peatling. They kicked 9 goals from 12 games last season. It's an awkward-looking set shot. They'll fly on the behind line, and it'll be fisted through for the 8th behind of the quarter without a major having been scored. 20 and a half minutes played in the third. 7-16-58 Carlton, 6-8-44 the Giants here on Grandstand AFL. Of course, later tonight, St Kilda and Essendon from the MCG, and the showdown at the Adelaide Oval, the Power and the Crows.
50-metre penalty here against Daniels. O'Brien had taken the mark at left half back. So he'll be marched to see where the umpire stops. Just forward of halfway in the centre square.
Scoreboard just showed Toby Green sitting on the bench. sucking some air in, but he's only had the 3 touches. So if the Giants, if they're going to look to get on top here, they need him to get going.
O'Brien's kick is a turnover. Rouston from the wing. It's a good kick to Daniels, who's marked just inside forward 50. It's an open arc. He loops the kick over the top to Riccardi, who's marked 10 metres out from goal. And he will shoot from point-blank range for what is surely going to be the first goal of this third quarter. And he does send it through as we all take a collective breath. Riccardi has 2 goals. And it is all of a sudden back to 8 points. Carlton, 7-16-58, leading the Giants 7-8-50. 22 played. Third term on Grandstand AFL. Before we get the thoughts of Alicia Eva and Joel Patfull, let's go downstairs to Declan Byrne.
Yeah, still really muddy down here. As you said, they had the sand out at half-time. Even the physio and the water runners have turned into boot scrubbers as the players come off to get in the mud. But, yeah, beautiful finish there from Riccardi.
Just a different ball movement there from the Giants. And that, I guess, that fast play is when Jack Riccardi can lead back into space. When the Carlton defender is caught in front of him and there's a paddock to work behind, that's when he can go back. But when the ball's held up, the Giants have just lacked someone coming up at the kicker, a little probing kick somewhere. They haven't had that this quarter, but that was a different build-up. They changed lanes, changed angles a little bit. And again, Brent Daniels, just skills, just weighted that really nicely for Riccardi.
Very much still in the hunt here. The Blues just haven't been able to kill them off. Despite the dominance, a soccer off the ground out of the middle from Cornelio, taken by Lloyd inside the 50. He fans it wide for Peatling. He's marked maybe just inside 40 metres out. Tight angle out to the right. Had a shot from a similar distance a couple of moments ago and didn't strike it as he'd like. So Peatling to bring it back to a 2-point spread. Set shot on the way, narrow all the way. And it almost goes down into the temporary nature park that they've got behind the goals there. The Meerkat enclosure, 7-point margin the way of the Blues through 24 minutes of the third.
Which isn't always there, it's for the Easter show.
Where are the Meerkats is the real question.
Long kick to the broadcast wing. Whitfield got the hand pass away to Buckley and shares it with Kelly. And now Ash gives it back to Kelly. Has a couple of bounces. Takes on Jesse Motlop. Then kicks a long ball into the pocket. Hogan rises high. Got a good piece of it. Couldn't complete the mark. It's picked up by Young of the Blues. His kick just pitches inside the boundary line but bounces out of play. Giants fans wanted deliberate, nothing doing. So we'll get a throw in, left half forward for the Giants. They trail by 8 points, 25 played in this third term.
It's a big sort of area filled with dirt and a big sort of, looks like a slip and slide down the middle. Do you have any idea what it's for, Alicia? You're a local among us.
I don't know what it's for, but I might get to the Easter show and I'll report back next game at Giants Stadium.
Sounds good. It is one of the curiosities here tonight. We've got the Ferris wheel outside, the carousel on the way in, a real festival atmosphere. And a good crowd in here at Giants Stadium too ahead of the Easter show, and they're seeing a great ball game as Cornelio clatters into Doherty. 2 hard heads collide at half forward. Around the body, the kick inside the forward 50. It's going to be a free to Carlton, and that'll have the locals all the more unhappy. They're getting restless here in Western Sydney. Short kick from Newman. And now Cowan as the Blues possess it inside the defensive arc. Let's get downstairs to Declan.
GWS have activated their tactical sub, so Connor Stone coming on and Cooper Hamilton is subbed out.
So both sides have now used their sub. O'Brien into the game for Carlton, always with a hamstring injury. It's a beautiful mark from Mackay in front of the interchange gates. Blues up by 7 points as we tick down a three-quarter time. Mackay loads up, looking for Curnow. Knocked away from him by Iden. Out of play for a throw-in between wing and half forward.
Just releases a bit of pressure, that mark from Mackay on the wing there. They're up against it, the Carlton defenders. That adds to that value of those key forwards, getting up on the ground, taking a good mark, moves the ball 50 metres further down the ground.
So ball spinning back into play. Dying seconds of this third quarter. Trying to spin his way through the traffic was Akers. He turned into trouble and got caught. And there's time here for the Giants, but they'll need to go quickly before the bell for the final change. Ward shifts it short to Iden at half-back. They might run out of seconds to cover the territory required here. GWS, they've kicked the only goal of this third period as Ash sends it wide. Haynes marks, and we turn for home with 7 points separating the Giants and the Blues. Carlton 7-16-58, adding 5 behinds in that third quarter. The Giants kicking 1 goal for, the lone major of the term, going the way of Jake Riccardi. And the margin is 7 as we reach the final change. 7-16-58 to 7-9-51. A close ball game in soggy conditions here at the showgrounds. Riccardi and Hogan each have 2 for the Giants. Ward, Daniels and Kelly all have singles. For the Blues, Matt Owies was subbed out of the game but kicked 2 goals in the first term. Charlie Curnow's got 1 goal, 3 to his name. Jesse Motlop, Sam Doherty, Corey Durden and Jack Silvani have the other goals for the Blues. Big night of footy ahead. We'll preview that all very shortly. And, of course, a big final term coming up here at Giants Stadium. Carlton by 7 as we turn for home on ABC Radio, News Radio, Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app. This is Grandstand AFL.
What's the best thing in the world that's also on the ABC Listen app? The footy! This season, get your footy live and ad-free on the ABC Listen app.
Right through for a goal.
AFL, NRL, men's, women's. Whatever you fix, we've got you covered.
She's got it. Bye-bye. See you later.
Every goal, try, mark and tackle. Called by ABC Sports' expert commentary team. AFL and NRL, live and ad-free. Get it on the ABC Listen app.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Ralston from the wing. It's a good kick to Daniels, who's marked just inside forward 50. It's an open arc. He loops the kick over the top to Riccardi, who's marked 10 metres out from goal. And he does send it through as we all take a collective breath. Riccardi has 2 goals.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
The collective breath was because the goal came after a flurry of behinds in that quarter. Carlton kicked 5. The Giants ended up with 4. The lone goal to punctuate it. And we turn for home with a 7-point spread between Carlton and GWS. 7-16-58 to the Giants, 7-9-51. 2 games to come to round out your Saturday night on Grandstand AFL. One of them is at the MCG, a big night of celebration for St Kilda. They take on Essendon, and that's where we say a very good evening to Corbin Middlemass. Good evening, Joel. It's pretty cold in Melbourne. It's about 15 degrees and dropping. It is overcast, but there is no rain expected, so that's good news for both Essendon and St Kilda and their fans that have made their way into the MCG. There's a lot of St Kilda fans already in their seat. They're trying to break their home attendance record for a home and away game here at the MCG, which currently stands at just 67,893. So there's a fair chance they'll go past that tonight, celebrating their 150th anniversary. They've already inducted Bill Moore as a legend into their Hall of Fame tonight. He was a goal-kicking great back in the 1930s, and also going into the Hall of Fame, Nick Del Santo and Lee Montagna earlier tonight on a big night of celebration for the St Kilda Footy Club. The here and now, a chance for both these teams to go 3-0 with a win tonight after a bright start to the season for both the Saints and the Bombers. There's no late change here, Joel. The 2 medi-subs for the respective teams. Ben Patton is the sub for the Saints, and Nick Hind is the sub for Essendon. Thanks, Corby. Looking forward to that. The Saints and Essendon at the MCG. Corbin Middlemass, Ben Cameron, Mark Murphy, Luke Ball and Lauren Borden, your call team. And, of course, at the Adelaide Oval tonight, Showdown Town. Aaron Bryans, Neil Cross, premiership players for either side in Rod Jamieson and Josh Franku and Jack Paqueta to bring you Port Adelaide and Adelaide, which is laced with intrigue, as all showdowns are. And, of course, Grandstand AFL, your home of showdown coverage for our South Australian audience, or of course wherever you are, you can get it via the ABC Listen app in season 2023. Look for the AFL Extra button for our showdown coverage tonight, and the AFL button for our St Kilda and Essendon coverage from the MCG. Alicia Eva and Joel Patfull are our Grandstand AFL experts. Game on at three-quarter time.
Yeah, it certainly is game on, and I think the Blues are probably a little bit wasteful in front of goal in that third quarter. They could have certainly broken the game open. Thought they were in control of the ball or of the footy in the first half of that third quarter. So a few missed opportunities there has meant that the Giants are still in this. I think the Giants improved their ball movement in the latter half of that quarter. They were able to hit the scoreboard through Jake Riccardi. But if the Giants are going to win this game, I think Toby Green's got to get involved, but they also need to fix up footy going inside 50 because Carlton are just setting up so well defensively. They've obviously fixed that from the first quarter, but they just seem to repel any of the Giants' forward momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Both teams had their chances in that quarter, and it was really fast-flowing, free-moving footy, and it was the team that could keep their composure and hit a few targets in a row. There's a lot of turnover, a lot of quick movement, and the Giants just hit a few targets inside 50 and they converted. Carlton have just got to, I think they've got to slow the game down a bit. They're playing in the Giants' hands and trying to go faster. If they can slow it down, hit a few targets, bit of composure moving inside 50, I think it's their game to lose.
There's plenty ahead of both of these teams. Of course, Carlton unbeaten to start their season. The draw in round one, the win in round two. And the Giants winners in round one going down to West Coast last week. 7-point game as we enter the final term. De Koning and Flynn crash into each other in the middle. Tom Green rips it away with a left foot kick. Sends it inside the forward 50. Lewis Young got upstairs, brought it down, quickly tackled. It's dragged in underneath him. And we'll have a ball up. The artificial lights taking full effect out here at the Sydney Showgrounds. Umpire flings it in the air. Hogan reaches up, De Koning the clearance work, scraps a kick into the centre of the ground, straight to Isaac Cumming, who'll return it with interest.
Almost ran into the umpire, did Isaac Cumming, but dodged him to take the mark from the centre square. A long bomb to a dangerous position at the top of the square. It's brought to ground. Ward dives on top of it. Ball flicked out, ends up with Chera of the Blues, gives it to Akers. Under pressure with the kick, gets it outside defensive 50. This ball came from Buckley against Silvani, who follows up with a tackle and locks it up at right half forward. Blues up by 7. It was the Giants by 3 at quarter time. Carlton by 12 at the half. And the only goal kicked by the Giants in the third term. We've got a game here in the final quarter.
That we do. Earlier today, Hawthorn defeated North Melbourne by 19 points. A couple of 14-point results earlier in the weekend going the way of Collingwood and the Western Bulldogs. In the National Rugby League earlier today, a 32-point all draw between Manly and Newcastle. Off the stoppage, Cripps has been absolutely brilliant tonight. To Adam Sard, through the middle of the ground, McGovern drives it inside the 50. Curnow, two hands to it with the arms outstretched, couldn't mark. Haynes was first back there to Whitfield. Dangerous kick up the middle, turned it over. McGovern picked it off, got it to Cripps, who blazes away to full forward, hoists one high into the sky. And Buckley was the only player within 20 metres of it for the Giants.
Chip short to Cumming, who kicks to Ash at centre half back. He'll decide to flare it across to Haynes, still inside defensive 50. Now he loops the hand pass over the top to Ash, who kept running from left half back. Short kick to Whitfield, just the required distance, who kicks it back to Haynes at centre half back. Now Haynes is quick to play on, kicks it to the broadcast wing. Contest coming up between Callaghan and O'Brien. Callaghan can't keep it alive. And we've got to throw in right in front of the interchange gates here on the broadcast side of the ground. Carlton by 7, early stages, final term on Grandstand AFL.
You could just see with the way the Giants were shifting that ball backwards and forth across the ground. They really don't want to kick long to Carlton's defenders that are just sitting in the hole.
Giants AFLW captain Alicia Eva with you on Grandstand AFL alongside former Giant and Lion Joel Patfull. Canelio at the stoppage, kicks to half forward. Green hasn't seen a lot of it in his area, has Toby Green. He was held onto there by Newman. In fact, he did the holding on. So, Toby Green, whether it's the Toby tax or not, there's been some inflation applied to it tonight because he really hasn't had it all his own way. Newman's short kick finds Akers, who was in the wars early, kicks long down the line. Flynn, one bite, two, couldn't bring it in. De Koning brought it down and then flicked it on by hand to Curnow. Charlie Curnow to Cripps, to Doherty. Flaring kick inside the forward 50. Hollands, will it sit for him? Not quite. He flicked it on to Silvani, got it back, ran into trouble, dropped it, picked it up again. Hamble went looking for Motlop, found Mackay, got to Doherty. Frenetic stuff inside forward 50 for Carlton. Giants numbers went out through Taylor and Haynes. Curls his kick around the body, fisted back toward Lloyd. He can find some space now for the Giants.
It's a good kick into the path of Hogan. Didn't get a kind bounce. Now he's got some work to do against Chero. Tapped it on to Canelio, who loops the hand pass to Ward. And now off to Stone, the sub. Hacks it inside forward 50. The fist came from Newman, who followed up and collected the footy, gives it to Sard, hemmed up against the boundary line at right half back, measures a lovely kick to Wiedering, who's marked defensive side of the wing, quick to play on, hand pass looking for Hollands, he's bumped off it by Stone, picked up by Canelio, kick out too much on it for Daniels, picked up by Hogan, loose a hand pass into space, Daniels, once, twice is brought to ground by Newman. Umpire's circling and calls for it. It's a ball up, 45 out from the Giants' goal.
Well done to you both calling this, because this is pinballing around.
Bit of a horse race at the moment. Fast footy being played at the stoppage. Tom Green to Lloyd. Around the body inside the 50, off the hands of Hogan. Newman darts his way through the traffic and then looks up and releases with a beautiful squaring kick to Fisher. Bounced awkwardly for him, but he did well to duck and weave his way through the traffic. Just got it to Akers, who just got the handball away under pressure. And then Fisher's kick, not quite to O'Brien. Ash was there for the Giants. Handball to Cumming, who went back and got his own footy after his handball missed the target. Got it to Whitfield, got it to Ward. Ward short on the left boot to Tom Green. To Kelly cruising through. He sends it to the pocket. Riccardi couldn't mark. Had it knocked out of his hands at the last moment. Giants in attack. De Koning fighting for it in the back pocket. They all scrap after the ball as it's camped under Tom De Koning. Daniels is in there hovering around the footy. Riccardi applies some pressure. Still 30 out from the Giants' goal. 7 points down. Sard grabs it. He's grabbed. Dragged to ground. Ball up.
Wow.
Woo.
It's on out there. It's definitely on. How good's Newman been?
Yeah,
some of his contests there were amazing. 1-on-1 Toby Green, ground level and a clearing kick as well. He's been outstanding.
Blues by 7. Intensity lifting by the second at Giant Stadium. From the stoppage, De Koning picks it up, hand passes to Doherty. Any hand pass looking for Hollands, but he has a fumble. It's out of play. Throw in, 55 around from the Giants' goal. 6.5 played in this final term. The Giants by 3 at quarter time. Carlton by 12 at the half, by 7 at the last change. We've got a big finish coming up. Umpire spins it back into play. Flynn palms it down straight to Doherty of the Blues, who's driven into the turf by Lloyd. And the umpire calls for it. Stoppage, 55 out from goal.
1-5 at this venue, Carlton. Giants with the 9-5 head-to-head record. Since 2014, that's 9-3. Carlton winning both encounters last year in round 9 and round 19. Tom Green at the stoppage. Sends it inside the 50 to Toby Green, who rises when they need him and plucks it in the left forward pocket. Rarely sighted tonight, the captain. Can he convert here and reduce the margin to a point? He's 35 metres out. His 4th touch of the game is his first goal. And the spread's back at 1 point. 7-16, 58 Carlton. The Giants 8-9-57. 8 minutes played. Final term on Grandstand AFL.
A wise coach once said to me, you may not have your day, but you can have your moment. And that is a moment that Toby Green definitely needed. But to kickstart his team, fantastic huge pack mark, and to go back and snap that, he's pretty pleased with his work there.
They've persisted with him in the forward line, and that's, I guess, probably why, because you do that late in the game. Clutch kick.
Yeah, beautiful finish there, Toby Green.
The Giants fans are now chanting in the stands, trying to get their team over the line. Back in the middle, they win the clearance from Rouston, who kicks a long bomb inside the 50. It's off hands. Picked up by Daniels. He's coughed it up to Newman, who's set upon immediately by Peatling, who's locked the ball up 40 metres out from the Giants' goal. They continue to press here at Giants Stadium. Margin a point, 9 minutes played, final term.
Pitternet reaches up over the top of Himmelberg, slaps it down. And a ball up. Carlton led by as many as 15 on 3 occasions in the third term. The Giants have just whittled it down. Blues didn't kick a goal in the third term, haven't kicked one here to start the final quarter, but Motlop has a chance. Screws his kick around the body to Silvani. Hewitt's cruising past, sends it inside the 50, beautifully read by Taylor. Picked it off at half-back, as he so often does. Outlets to Ash, who now finds Stone, who's been subbed into the game. He chips over the top and finds Rouston, who's done some good things in game 2.
He chips it inboard to Kelly, who's marked on the AFL logo broadcast side. He chips it further afield to Green. This is Tom Green. Content to just hold play up momentarily. And now he gets around Cripps on the mark. Loads up towards full forward. It goes to ground. Daniels at the back. Right foot snap towards goal. And the Giants are in front. He's got 2. As they're having a bit of a chat on the goal line. I think this is going to go upstairs. And we are. We're going to have a score review. So I think the question is maybe whether or not it hit the post as it went through.
Don't know what you can see from these angles.
It looked pretty good from here. I think that's got to go through, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I think the umpire's call was a goal. So we'll need sufficient evidence to overturn it.
Doesn't look like there's any deflection.
Daniels was pretty happy when he kicked it.
You would be. It was a pretty neat snap.
You can normally tell the players usually know they've all set up for a centre bounce here, so that looks pretty clear. It just goes to show a bit of persistence from the Giants. They've been pushing it forward, long to a contest, clean goal, 2 goals in a row, and they're back in it.
So there was no spike on the edge technology. And the crowd tells the story. It is a goal to Daniels, and the Giants move to 9-9-63, leading the Blues 7-16-58. 12 minutes played, final term on Grandstand AFL.
And as he called that goal, I think it was Tom Green who kicked it inside 50, but what he was able to do is he stepped, I think it was Paddy Cripps or whoever was on the mark, he managed to get around and just get that extra 5 to 10 metres so that when he kicked the ball, it was going over that spare Carlton defender. The tall forwards do their job. If they're not marking, they bring the ball to ground, and that's where Brent Daniels is very dangerous.
11th lead change of the game. They've only had 2 since quarter time. 9 goals, goal for goal in the first quarter. Game ground to a halt in the second and third. Carlton didn't kick one in the third term, and they still haven't here in the last, and the Giants lead by 5. Adam Kingsley's men are making a big statement so far. Pitternet out of the middle, dribbles a kick inside forward 50 for the Blues. Cripps has willed his way to the contest at centre-half forward. Ed Curnow off a step, into the pocket for Charlie Curnow, who's done a few magic things tonight. Tried to turn Buckley inside out, got forced over the line, it'll be thrown in. Great defence from the young Giant once more.
It's a great test here for the Blues. If they're going to be a serious team this year, they need to win games like this, and to be under pressure, 5 points down, 12 minutes to go.
And that's another close one.
Exactly.
All back into play. Green has a go at it for the Giants, but it spills to Chera of the Blues. In fact, it was Ed Curnow of the Blues who gives it to Chera. Long bomb to full forward, knocked away from Mackay. Live ball forward pocket for the Blues, picked up by Cumming. And it's he dropped it off his boot. It dribbles towards the line for a throw-in 30 metres around from the Blues goal. They have not scored since the 19-minute mark of the third quarter. They're 5th behind of the third term. And now they've got a chance deep in attack.
Go back to second last round of last year. The biggest margin in Carlton's last 4 games is 8 points. Decided either way. Here's Doherty off the contest. Outside of the boot to fall forward. Curnow upstairs. Did he have the arm across Buckley? He did. And Jack Buckley, who missed all of last season, back into the team this year after a knee injury. He's had a big job tonight. And he's acquitted himself very nicely indeed, as has the entire Giants defensive unit. Clearing kick up toward Hogan on the outer side wing for the Giants. Tom Green had a play at the ball. Akers has been busy tonight. Sends a high footy inside the forward 50. Charlie Curnow got out the back, slipped the tackle, freed the arms, got the handball away. Harry Mackay got run down. Was he held without it? Umpire said no. Picked up by Durden, snaps at a goal, misses narrow. Minor score as the tension rises still. 4 points to spread now. In fact, 5 it is the way of the Giants. 9-9 plays 7-16.
They paid a free kick.
And they've paid a free kick at the top of the goal square. I've no idea what for, but Jesse Motlop's got the ball at the top of the square. So Carlton down by 5 points before the kick. Motlop spins it in his hands from 20 metres out, converts from the spot, puts Carlton back ahead and makes the Giants pay the price. 8-16-64 Carlton. The Giants 9-9-63, halfway through the final term. Your experts on Grandstand AFL, Alicia Eva and Joel Patfull.
Well, I'm still trying to catch up with that. Does anyone know what actually happened? We're still trying to get a replay here. I think it might have been for dissent, maybe. He's saying to Lockie Whitfield in the goal square, but a massive, massive penalty for this stage of the game.
Yeah, I mean, Motlop wasn't even in the screen. Okay.
So high drama here at Giant Stadium. It was a big call.
We haven't seen many of those paid in...
No.
Not even recent weeks, but even the back end of last year.
It was a bizarre one.
So Carlton back in front by a point, and we're back in the middle. Cripps, he's had a brilliant night, and he feeds the hand pass to Pitternet. Cripps gets it back. It's a wobbly kick inside the arc, but it works out because Ed Kono picks it up, shoots towards goal, and he's missed to the right for a minor. Carlton by 2 points, 8-17-65. Leads the Giants 9-9-63. 16 played, final term, Grandstand AFL.
Very animated Adam Kingsley on the phone. Just shown on the big scoreboard there, so don't know what that was about, but maybe just having a few words with Lockie Whitfield. Who knows?
Ash wheels away from fullback, sends a long ball down the broadcast side through the hands of Hogan and Himmelberg, taken by Sard, who jams it back inside the forward 50 for the Blues, and Connor Iden stands in the road.
Certainly not too Lockie Whitfield because he's out on the ground, has the ball now.
Oh, and he's going to have to be quick here. Just got around Motlop. The kick wasn't the distance. Some nervous moments for Giants supporters. He and Motlop got tangled up in the end as Taylor sends it out wide. Kick run down, looking for Buckley out there. Mackay ended up turning the spoiler. Wiedering just got his kick away. Good chase from Buckley. Affected the kick, and it ricochets over the boundary line. It'll be thrown back into play just forward of the wing for Carlton. A replay of the moment that the free kick was paid to Motlop on the big screen. It could be a costly one. Margin is 3 points the way of the Blues through 17 minutes.
Ball flicked back in. Himmelberg against Pitternet. Spills to ground. Cripps has a go. Couldn't collect. Picked up by Daniel, who gives it to Cornelio of the Giants. Hooks the kick around the corner into the centre square. Off hands. Ed Curnow picks it up. Slips the Peatling tackle. Gets the kick away towards half forward. Bounces in front of Charlie Curnow. Taylor read it best for the Giants. Loops the hand pass over the top to Ash. He collects. Dodges a would-be tackler. Then loops the hand pass over the top to Rouston. He's caught by McGovern. Ball out of play. Throw in. Centre wing out of side. Giants by 3. Or Blues by 3.
Interesting part about all that is in the last couple of moments, they have updated the Carlton score. So the margin is 3 points now. So they've counted the Durden behind and the free kick to Motlop because the ball had gone through. So they didn't have that immediately on the scoreboard. So that score reflected now 8-18-66 to 9-9-63. So a 3-point ball game. Amid the madness of the moment, even the scoreboard operators and the official scorekeepers got a little bit caught up. Cornelio down the wing. Floats the kick out toward the boundary line, just pitched inside the field of play. And it'll be tossed back in. Joel Peterson and Jess Webster with you on Grandstand AFL. Great to have your company. Big night of footy ahead. St Kilda and Essendon at the MCG and Port Adelaide and Adelaide in the showdown for our South Australian and Northern Territory audiences. Declan Burns on the boundary. Our experts, Joel Patfull and Alicia Ever, and it's the Blues by 3. They're clinging on against the Giants, who aren't going down without a fight.
Pitternet palms it down straight to Kelly of the Giants. Hacks a kick inside forward 50. Hogan in front position. Could have come down with it. Green comes out. Gets the hand pass away, but he's turned it over to Young, who gives it to McGovern and now to Fisher. Jams it on the boot down the line. Great mark taken by Haynes in the contest. And he's quick to play on. The Giants with some run. Whitfield slams it to full forward. No mark taken. Spills to ground. Newman for the Blues. Gives it to Fisher. Chips short and finds Durden on the lead at right half back.
So Durden kicked a goal in the opening term of the game. He looks for the switch and finds Wiedering at the top of the defensive goal square. Dangerous kick to Sard, who slipped over at the critical moment, trying to find a football that was kicked behind him. Free kick in that contest. And it's coming to the orange and charcoal.
Ward.
And it will be the long-range marksman, Callan Ward, who hands it off. Whitfield's cruising past, 45 out, skies it to full forward. 2 Blues there, off hands, minor score. Margin back to 2, 20 minutes played final term. Blues 8-18, Giants 9-10.
Yeah, big call there by Ward to give the handball off to Lockie Whitfield, running on his non-preferred side. So I would have rather seen Ward go back and have a set shot there, I think.
McGovern to Newman, kicks long down the broadcast wing to a pack. It's off hands. Out the back is Rowston for the Giants. Lifts the hand pass over the top to Himmelberg. Hand passes to Green, and now the Giants are out. Hand pass to Callahan. He dodges Sard. It's a shank off the boot to a dangerous position. They fight for it inside 50. Riccardi off the deck. Marked by Young in the goal square. Not the required distance, called to play on. Giants players weren't aware. Young jams it on the boot, exits the danger zone, looking for Charlie Curnow. It's off hands, sockers it off the deck to Fisher. He'll have to try and keep it alive against the boundary line. He loses his feet and then hand passes to space, still close up against the boundary line, picked up by Kelly of the Giants. Loops the hand pass over the top to Green. But Hewitt picks it up for the Blues, gives it to Doherty, put Durden under pressure. Ball still alive on the outer side. They still go at it. Hewitt has a go. And now Green just pushes Cowan over the boundary line. And we've got a stoppage on the outer side. Blues by 2, 22 played final term.
You both know the importance of these critical stages. Carlton led by as many as 15 points in the third term. De Koning rips it out of the ruck, handballs it forward, fisted back the other way by Cornelio, taken by Hollins. In his third game, he kicks inside the 50. And a great mark taken by Buckley. And in fact, it's going to be a free kick to Taylor, who was held by Mackay. Buckley receives the handball and outlets to Himmelberg on the outer side. Just behind centre wing for the Giants. Have they got something left? Can they conjure another bit of magic? A Toby Green goal put them in front early in this final term. He's only had 4 touches on the evening. And Nick Newman, his direct opponent, was up at that contest to fist it clear. It goes out for a throw-in. Giants in attack, left half forward, 70 out from their goal. They trail by 2.
Harry Mackay also been very well held today by Sam Taylor.
De Koning and Himmelberg in ruck. De Koning palms it down. Doherty had a fumble, picked up by Hewitt. Gives it to Cowan. Rush kick around the corner, down the line to Curnow and Buckley in a one-on-one. And it eventually spills over the line for a boundary throw-in. Centre wing position, outer side. Adam Kingsley down on the bench for for the Giants, having a chat to Matty Flynn, about to come back on the ground. He's battled hard in the ruck all day, Matty Flynn. And it's the Blues by 2. 23 minutes played, final term. Ball back into play from the stoppage. Cowan just hacks it into forward 50. It's a one-on-one. Mackay against Taylor. It spills to Haynes on the last line of defence. Hand pass looking for Iden in the right back pocket. Shows them a clean pair of heels. Kicks it down the line to a contest. It's knocked down by Weeder and picked up by Sard, who shares it with Doherty and then chips forward. It's a lovely kick and hits O'Brien at left half forward.
O'Brien, 75 from home, spears it inside the 50. Cripps juggles the mark. 46 metres from home, 5 in from the boundary. Patrick Cripps has 41 to equal his career best. This for disposal number 42. At the 24-minute mark of the last, he's side up by 2 and he's within scoring range. The captain, the Brownlow medalist, he starts his approach, lets it go from the 50. It's narrow all the way. It's a minor score, and it's a 3-point ball game. 67 plays 64, 24 and a half played here at Giants Stadium.
Whitfield brings the ball back in for the Giants, hits Ash and then receives the hands. Kicks to the outer side wing, but he's turned it over. He looked for Toby Green, but Nick Newman, who's played exceptional tonight, takes the intercept mark and then kicks out wide to Hollins, who's marked just forward of the wing. That kick's not the required distance to Doherty, so he has to play on. Gets around Ash, kicks a low ball to half forward, and Curnow takes the diving mark. He's got it 52 out from goal, 5 metres in from the boundary. It's a very crowded forward 50.
Has he got the distance from there? I don't know if he does, but he's looking pretty keen. He looks like he's half a chance, and it's what it's going to come down to. One of these moments, someone's going to have to step up, get him over the line.
Charlie Curnow, it'll have to be his best effort. It's going to come up just short, and Flynn with the big spoil sends it over the line for a minor margin. 4 points the way of Carlton. 8-20, 68 plays 9-10, 64. 25 played, final term, Grandstand AFL.
Blues fans would be popping the blood pressure pills one last time here again. 5 games in a row decided by 8 points or less for Carlton, dating back to round 22 of last season. Turnover as Young picks it off through Hogan's hand, sends it back inside the 50, and Taylor floats across to mark for the Giants. 40 out from his defensive goal. Giants led by 5 at quarter time. Carlton have held sway in the second and third terms. Toby Green put GWS ahead early in the last, and now Carlton back in front and in possession. Sard to left half forward. Silvani marks his 55 from home.
He'll wheel around on the right, shoots the pass into the pocket. Curnow's got it. Taylor missed the spoil, and Buckley couldn't get a hand in, so Curnow marks right up against the boundary line, about 20 out from goal.
He'll be bitterly disappointed with that, Sam Taylor and Jack Buckley. They outnumbered Curnow 2v1 there, but he still managed to take the mark. Press heavily against the boundary line as well.
So he's set up for the snap around the body. Charlie Curnow. And raises the double fist as he puts Carlton 10 points clear. 27 minutes into the final term. The Blues 9-20, 74. Plays the Giants 9-10, 64. Curnow has 2.
Yeah, they would be disappointed, the Giants defenders. 2-on-1 in the back pocket there. Taylor not able to get his fist on the ball, but Curnow's been great. He's kept presenting. He's kept the ball coming towards him and with energy. And sometimes that's all you can ask from your big key forwards, is keep presenting. Hasn't been his day, but he's given himself the opportunity to kick a couple of goals. And it's amazing how much that skill's improved over the years. That snap from the boundary line, it was almost more of a chance than a set shot to bring that one back in. So well played.
So a couple of minutes left for the Giants. Thoughts of Joel Patfill alongside Alicia Evie are experts on Grandstand AFL later tonight. St Kilda and Essendon, and Port Adelaide and Adelaide at the showgrounds on a sodden turf where players have been slipping over. You thought they would have abandoned the bounce about 5 minutes into the first quarter, but we're still doing it and still being recalled in the centre. Himmelberg in ruck. In fact, Flynn it is this time in there against Hipnet for the Blues. Boot to ball from Doherty. Scrambles a kick through the centre, taken by Ash. His handball turned over to Curnow in the middle of the ground. Charlie Curnow to Doherty, sends a skyscraper inside forward 50. Ash went without it. Iden's there, Motlop buzzing around. Paddles it to the boundary line. Taylor and Iden combine. Handball to Tom Green. And now to Stone. Weaves his way through the traffic, hacks it toward the boundary line. It bounces, it rolls, it's deliberate. Insufficient intent. And the free kick will be taken by George Hewitt in front of the interchange gates. Carlton by 10 at the 29-minute mark of the last.
Hewitt runs on the angle, kicks it long down the line, and that's a great mark from Flynn against Pitternet. He marks it right half back for the Giants. They have to go.
Yeah, but Harry Mackay, very clever, just hot in the heels of Lockie Asher, although Ash does get it, but mindful that the Giants are going to want to move this ball quickly.
Ash switches play to Callaghan in a one-on-one with Hollins. Callaghan gets the hand pass away. The intent is sufficient. And we'll have a throw-in on the outer side, just forward of the wing. Carlton into attack. They lead by 10, nearly 30 minutes played here in this final term.
And there's just over a minute to go if you wanting to keep that ball in. So good decision there by the umpire, I think.
Game high, 15-point lead for the Blues in that third term. Giants went ahead in this final quarter thanks to Toby Green early, who's been brilliantly opposed by Nick Newman tonight. Free kick for the Giants of the contest. Tom Green, handball to Cornelio, to the run of Lockie Ash, who kicks toward half forward. Here's Daniels with a play on it. Kept it alive. Well done, Akers. O'Brien was in there to support. Daniels stayed with the play, kicked it straight into wide, and it worked out. Now Himmelberg tied up on the boundary, 50 metres out, sends it to full forward, and the mark taken by Lewis Young. Top of the defensive goal square. He kills the late threat. Chips short to Chera, and the Blues can take the air out of the thing here. Up by 10 in the dying stages.
A long kick to a contest, close to the boundary line. Flynn, is the mark paid? It is. Although I think the umpires are going to have a little conference here. The mark is paid to Flynn. He's 2 kicks from goal. Just wind up and kick it to a big pack at full forward. Oh, big fly from Young. Silvani, in fact, couldn't come down with it. They dive on. The Giants were gallant, but the Blues get the job done at Giants Stadium. They win in a nail-biter by 10 points. In the opening term, 9 lead changes as the sides went goal for goal. The Giants held a slim 3-point lead at quarter time. Carlton took control in the middle quarters. They led by 7 by the last change. A career best 42 disposals from Patrick Cripps. He led the way as Charlie Curnow kicked the sealer with a brilliant goal from the pocket as Carlton run out 9-20-74 to 9-10-64 winners.
We are the Navy Blues. We are the old dark Navy Blues. We're the team that never lets you down. We're the only team old Carlton knows. We're all the champions. They keep their end up, and they will know that they've been playing against the famous old dark Blues.
The Blues withstand a challenge in a series of close games. They shake the Demons and are able to beat the Giants by 10 points. And they did it by 10 behinds in the end. 9-20-74 to 9-10-64. 12 lead changes in all in that game this evening. The Giants dropped to 1-2 ahead of a trip to Docklands to face Essendon on Easter Sunday. Carlton next in action on Good Friday against North Melbourne at Docklands. Goal kickers in the game. 2 goals to Charlie Curnow, 2 goals to Matt Owies for the Blues. Curnow kicking an important goal late to put Carlton 10 points to the good, a margin that they'd hold on to right through until the final siren. 2 goals to Jesse Motlop for Carlton, singles to Durden, Doherty and Silvani for the Giants. 2 goals to Jake Riccardi, 2 goals to Brent Daniels, 2 goals to Jesse Hogan, singles to Callan Ward, to Toby Green in the final term, who finished with just 5 disposals, and to Jake Kelly. We're with you for about another 6.5 minutes before we send you your separate ways. For most of our audience, you'll be headed to the MCG tonight for St Kilda and Essendon with Corbin Middlemiss in the team. And for our South Australian and top-end audience, you're headed to the Adelaide Oval for the showdown between the Power and the Crows. For now, though, the thoughts of our grandstand AFL experts on that one, Alicia Eva and Joel Patfull. The Blues just a little bit too good in the end.
Yeah, they were. It was a pretty frantic game, really. From the very start, it was end-to-end. There was not a lot of consistent ball movement, plenty of turnovers. Both teams were having a crack, but it was the Blues who were able to hold on towards the end. Obviously, Cripps was outstanding for a lot of the game. Would have been good to see him kick that one from outside 50 to finish the game off, but the Giants hung in there. They still had a chance late, a few missed opportunities, but Carlton obviously too good towards the end. Will really, they've been so good in those close games the last few weeks, so able to get over the line again by 10 points. Controversial free kick to get them in front, so I think the Giants would be a little bit disappointed with that and how that played out, but in the end, Carlton too good.
Absolutely, and I think if you look at the scoreboard, they've kicked 9 goals, 20, so they've had 10 more scoring shots than the Giants, the Blues. So I think they probably let the Giants, or they kept the Giants in the game when they missed some of those goals in the third quarter. It probably could have blown out a little bit then. Credit to the Giants in the last quarter. I thought they started really hot. But then Carlton got going again, and through the likes of Cripps, I think there's just a few handball chains, a few critical clearances he wins at critical times. It just swings momentum. So he had a huge game. The other one, Doherty's also had another huge game, 39 disposals. He kicked that goal, but Nick Newman, he has had an outstanding game on Toby Green. Obviously keeping Toby Green to 5 disposals and that 1 goal late. But he's also collected 24 disposals himself and had a big influence on the game. So, I think contributors across the ground for Carlton. The Giants, for mine, they just really struggled going inside 50. I think credit to Carlton's defensive setup. They were always playing in front of the Giants forwards, and you could see the likes of Jesse Hogan and Jake Riccardi getting frustrated. It forced the Giants to try and change up their ball movement, and unfortunately for the Giants, they just weren't able to hit the scoreboard as freely as Carlton were.
They'd be pretty encouraged with what they saw tonight, I would have thought, though, the Giants coaching staff. Carlton are a pretty serious side. Many have got them as one of the contenders in season 2023, and they made them very much work for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that first quarter is exactly what... I know it was a bit of a shootout, but that's the style of game Adam Kingsley wants the boys playing, a kind of transition running game, find space out the back, and hit the scoreboard that way. And I think it'd be encouraging seeing Lockie Ash get going and the likes of Lockie Whitfield. Probably there's a little bit of work to do with the entries going inside forward 50, but some other strong performances again from Josh Kelly, Tom Green, and Steve Cornelio has also had another strong game.
Blues heading into the rooms. We'll try and carve out some time to grab the song before we send you your separate ways. The votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year, Joel?
I've put some votes together. It's very Carlton-sided, but I did think they set the tone early. 3 votes was Cripps. I thought the way he went about it from the very start was amazing, in and around the contest. Really set the game up for the Blues. 2 votes I've got Newman. I've got a bit of a soft spot for defenders that do a job on a good player, so I'm going to give him 2 votes. Toby Green had very little influence over the game. I think he obviously kicked one late, but I haven't seen him shut out of a game like that for a long time. And you don't really see a lockdown these days with zones and the way teams are playing. So I enjoyed that contest and thought Newman did a good job. 1 vote I'm going to give to Motlop. I thought he set the tone early as well with his energy, disposal inside 50. I think he had 8 score involvements in the first half, so really got the ball going forward for the Blues.
Yeah, massive game from Patrick Cripps to lead the way for Carlton, who head into the rooms at 2 wins and a draw on their season from 3 games so far this year. About a minute and a half we've got with you here on Grandstand AFL. For most of our audience, St Kilda and Essendon at the MCG. For our South Australian and Northern Territory audience, Port and Adelaide very soon. Declan, call them in the Blues rooms.
Yeah, they're coming in the rooms, they're circling up. Maybe a bit of relief, but big cheers, big smiles on all the players' faces. A lot of handshakes. Definitely relief, though. There's a few of the coaches as well. Very happy with this, and they circle up. Here's the Carlton song.
Good on you, Declan. Carlton winners tonight by 10 points in the end. Thanks to Jess Webster, to Joel Patfull, to Alicia Eva, to Tegan pushing the buttons here, to Jonesy back in the studio. If you're with us in the southern states and WA, you're headed to St Kilda and Essendon at the MCG. In South Australia and the Northern Territory,